Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Night Owl, a show that we do twice a week where we talk about all the latest in pop culture news, TV and movie reviews, gaming news, and just the general conversations of the day. For those who don't know me, I'm Price of Reason, and with me, as always, is my co host, Professor R2. How's it going, Professor?
It's going all right. It's been kind of a chill day, which was nice. Not chill. It's a very hot day outside. Very hot day, but chill as in really had most of nothing to do today. Kind of just hung out and watched some TV and played a few games and did some stuff with my kids. Yeah, real easy going. Nice to have one of those every now and then.
Yours sounds like the day this type of day that I wanted to have.
I don't get a lot of those, but they come a little more frequently in the summer.
Yeah, that's the advantage of teaching, I guess, because in
The
the
one
summer,
benefit. Yep.
yeah.
If I don't have any teaching to do in the summer, it's a lot less pressure. That's for sure. Yep.
And yeah, the truth is that I'm ashamed to admit it, but I kind of dozed off, and then I suddenly woke up, and then I'm like, "Hey, it's the night owl." So quite an adventure, but yeah, I did something very unexpected today, and when I say unexpected, I mean I really had no intention of doing this, and suddenly from 1 minute to 1 minute, my plans changed drastically.
You
So you know
saw
how there
Supergirl again?
no,
Oh
I
my
I'm
god.
I'm not the mega
What?
geek. I know he's already watched it probably with
Okay, yeah.
every relative in the world. He's watched that movie. But no, what happened is that you know how there's the World Cup?
Yeah.
So I was at the game between France and Sweden.
Well, that's awesome.
Awesome to an extent. The only thing is that and I'm going to keep this as brief as I can. Basically, I wasn't supposed to go to the game, and I have a relative that basically, some relatives of mine, they bought these tickets, but they bought it through StubHub. Are you
Ah.
with me?
Yep.
Now, StubHub didn't give them tickets. It looked like there's so many weird things happening with StubHub and tickets these days. So they didn't get the tickets, and it looked like they wouldn't get it. And if they don't get the tickets, like StubHub is supposed to, refund or whatever it is. Uh, Now, obviously, if you know that you're getting tickets, you take the day off from work. Getting there is an issue. Parking there is an issue. There's all these things that are an issue that are additional expenses too, and you have to plan all this in advance. And if by the day of the event you're not getting the tickets and nobody's given them to you, that generally means that the company didn't deliver. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly.
So basically, I guess maybe an hour or something before the game, or I don't know, something along those lines, they get an email. Here's your tickets. And I don't really know, I don't know the fine print. I don't understand how all of this works. But obviously, people that didn't know that they were actually getting the tickets that they paid for, which are not cheap tickets, they couldn't logistically make it there because they didn't have the tickets until the last minute, and it looked like they wouldn't get it. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, yeah.
So I'm not inventing it. There's a lot of problem with the tickets for this thing. So
Yeah,
basically,
I've actually heard a few people that have mentioned it on some different streams that have had to deal with ticketing things. Yeah.
So basically, I get a call at around maybe it was like 4:20, and it's like, "Hey, do you want to go to the World Cup?" And I'm like, "Well, I don't understand. When is it?" And it basically, I needed to be at the stadium at 5 p.m., and it was 4:20 when I got the call. Uh, I was probably within 5 minutes. I hung up, and imagine I had no intention of doing anything. I was like you. I'm like, I'm gonna totally chill out today. I'll watch some crap on TV. You know. I don't know. I thought it would be like a take it easy type of day. So I ran like I within 5 minutes I'm running towards my car, and I called another relative, and I just said, "Hey, do you want it's somebody that lives close to me." She was just like, "Hey, we can go to this thing." It sounds cool, but when you're running to get to
Oh
somewhere
yeah,
that
just the panic of trying to get there and
the
yeah.
thing is that like by the time maybe I'm in the car and whatever, like 30 minutes to try to get to this place and also the parking and also get the thing. I didn't even know all the ins and outs. It's like once so many creative solutions needed to be, thought of on the fly,
Yep.
and there's no time for googling anything. You know what I mean? Like we're in the car, heading towards the thing with no plan whatsoever. It was really, really, nerve wracking. But in addition to that, it was hot outside, and what I learned is you don't just park it and go, and suddenly you're in the stadium. There, you're walking for miles and
Oh
miles
yeah.
and miles. There is a whole thing. You're just walking, and it's a super hot day. And at the end, we got there sometime, in the first half. We didn't make it through the whole game, but then like we saw, the rest of the what was left of the first half and the second half. I mean, it was a good game. It's just kind of, had we known about it sooner, I think that it would have been a more relaxing experience. It turned into this kind of crazy thing. So yeah, I found myself at the France versus Sweden game, and yes, Mbappe is a good player, and he scored and all this other stuff, and yeah,
All right.
so I did all of that,
So yeah,
and
so go watch the game, and somewhere in those stands is the mysterious price of reason. Just look for the
you know,
orange puppet.
well, what happened was somebody was like, somebody told me, well, as it's like as if it's not such a big deal, Martha Stewart is there. Martha Stewart, I'm sure, didn't go through whatever I went through to get to that seat. You know what I
No,
mean?
no.
Martha Stewart, I feel like some like chauffeur with like a limousine picked her up, and they probably had like a special route that's like open for her that they brought her like she probably like walked for like 20 seconds until she was in this like fancy thing. That wasn't the case with me. It was a good seat, but I mean, it wasn't that good. You know what I'm saying? I didn't get the Martha Stewart treatment.
Yeah, I have not been to any of the World Cup games. I did not want to do any of that craziness. We talked to the kids about it. That's said, it's kind of a once in a lifetime kind of thing, or at least not very common. Do you want to try and make that happen? And the answer was no. That's okay, thanks.
No,
Especially after we saw the price of the tickets.
I attended as myself,
Yes.
and man, I mean, yes, it's nice. I can say that I was there, and it's an interesting experience. But and that's why I think that it was also it's a long story until you get to the car, you get to this, you get there. It was the traffic. There were so many things afterwards. So by the time I got back, I just sat on my couch and I said, "Okay, well, I'm getting ready. In a few minutes, it's the night owl." And I sat there, and then suddenly, the next thing you know, I suddenly realized that the night owl had started technically, but I wasn't there. And and I had like a DM from you, like ready when you are. So yeah, that would have been the first time. That would have been the first time that I didn't make it. If I didn't somehow, it was like an inner alarm clock that sort of
Yep.
rang, and like duty calls.
Yeah. Price texted me back like literally while I had my phone getting ready to give him a call. Be like, you okay, man? Everything all right?
Uh, haven't tuned in for a while, Doc Fortune says, but I'm interested in hearing your thoughts on the state of the DCU and what will come next. I mean, the thing is, the, the truth is, there's so many people now waking up. I've said this a lot about Star Wars and things like that. I think that out of all the people online, one of the people that, or one of the persons, one of the people, I'm so tired. One of the people that's been saying a lot about James Gunn and said it a lot after Superman came out was me. Not only that, if you go back and like look at videos when he was appointed James Gunn, I had stuff to say as he was like working on his movies along the way. I had videos that I talked about it, and every single thing that I've ever said about him and like potential issues, everything I've said is like has aged like milk. And when Superman came out, I did my review, and then also I would do videos from time to time explaining, the situation, what's going on with him. And you had so many weird delusional people that were like, "No, we don't believe it. Every like he's the best and he's doing great." And I'm like, "No, he's not doing great. This I'm not angry, you know what I mean? Like
No,
I
no.
The thing is that I'm not knocking people that are passionate about something. And if you see something and you liked it, and you saw that Superman, and for whatever reason you liked it, you have a right to like it. You have a right to feel however you want. All I'm saying is that I said that that thing didn't look right. I'm I don't want to toot my own horn again. I've done this before with you. That if you go to like Ask Rock about certain things about who was the first to report it, I'm like there in a number of those you want to call them scoops or whatever you want to call them. In some of those early things, like I will be mentioned as one of the first people talking about it. And effectively, even after that first Superman movie, I said that James Gunn had already gotten into some trouble because I feel like he wanted to do his own Batman. And from the second that that Superman movie didn't work out well, when the money wasn't coming in the way they wanted, that's around the time when they said that Matt Reeves was getting his second movie. And I still believe until this day that if James Gunn would have knocked it out of the park with $1 billion Superman, they may have said, well, maybe James Gunn will do Batman. Do you get what I'm saying? Like he
Oh,
didn't
absolutely.
justify he didn't justify him getting that kind of leeway. So I think that that's why they just told him, listen, we're not going to go and throw you under the bus with streaming. We're somehow breaking even, maybe making a few dollars, even though at the box office it's technically a flop, even if it's a minor flop. So were like, also they were trying to sell the company and they didn't want the stock to be hurt. All stuff that I reported on pretty much before anybody else. Not to be like tooting my own, but it is true. What it is, what it is. I said all of that, and basically all these other people were like, no, you don't understand. Oh, Source, trust me, bro. It's not a matter of Source, trust me, bro. He announced that he was doing The Brave and the Bold, and kind of announced Matt Reeves' Batman as this kind of Elseworlds nonsense that he'll allow, but it's not the real Batman. You know what I mean? That was the way he was explaining it. But suddenly he never talked about his Batman again. How could he be the real one and the other one be the Elseworlds one, but yet he never gets to do his, and only the quote unquote Elseworlds guy is doing it, and the same quote unquote Elseworlds guy, that's the guy that even did the Penguin, which was considered good for Warner Brothers.
Yeah.
Nothing that James Gunn was saying made any sense. And he's like, oh, you got to watch Peacemaker. It's important. It's holding the whole universe together. It's not holding no universe together. That
Yeah.
Peacemaker season 2 was not holding that universe together. If that was holding the universe together, that is a big problem, you
Well, I
know?
mean, really, everything that he's made so far has been a big problem. I mean, let's think about it. What did he have? What he kicked everything off with Creature Commandos, which was just no one cared. Nobody. I watched a few episodes of it, and I said, no, I'm not coming back. No thanks. This is terrible. After that, he had Peacemaker season 2, which again did awful, just terrible. He had his Superman movie, which was not a big success. People can, like it or not. It did not do that well for the movie that's supposed to kick off this brand new universe. It had its parts that people enjoyed. It was good. It was bad. Some people liked it better more than others, but still, it was not a big performer. It was not a huge hit that they needed to start to kick off this universe. We got after that. We got what? Was there another TV show that we got after that? No. Yeah, we got
No, I
Super.
can't even remember. Did we
Obviously,
get
we
another?
got Supergirl. We got this year. We've got other stuff coming up too. We've got Clayface, which I don't know. It doesn't look like something a body horror kind of thing. Which, by the way, I'm not even going to watch that. I don't care. I'm not a big fan of horror, especially a body horror. Not a fan. So that one is just right
I
out for
actually
me.
I was on a panel recently. I forgot to mention it. It kind of bothered me later that I didn't mention this. Maybe because they mentioned this Clayface so quickly and just moved forward. But there's one thing that I've told you before that a lot of people always forget about this Clayface thing. Clayface was actually it was actually supposed to be Matt Reeves' movie. Matt Reeves had an idea for Clayface because it suited, in his opinion, whatever it is that he was doing. Now, I'm not saying, that Matt Reeves is the best thing that ever happened. I know people that didn't like his Batman movie at all. I know people that, like me, I think that while I was watching it, I didn't hate it, but I didn't think it was perfect either, but I didn't hate it. Some people I thought like were annoyed by it more or didn't like it. I think from what I recall, you I think didn't especially like it. I think both of us thought that the Penguin show was pretty decent.
Penguin was good. That's the other one. That's what I was thinking of was Penguin, but it's not really tied to Gunn's stuff,
Oh
right? It's
no,
just it.
it's not only is it not tied to Gunn stuff, it's actually tied to Matt Reeves's corner
Yeah,
of the DC universe. You'd think that once like James Gunn would become the co-CEO, and he was talking about Matt Reeves and how he's Elseworlds, and James Gunn is like the main course. Suddenly, that didn't seem to be going that way. You know what I mean? It seemed that the thing that was considered more respected was whatever Matt Reeves was doing,
yep,
whereas James Gunn seemed to be the hors d'oeuvres where Matt Reeves seemed to be the main course. The opposite of what James Gunn was saying. It
yeah.
wouldn't be the first time that he's just saying crap that's not real. Uh,
Yeah, and the Matt Reeves Batman sucked. It was one of the most boring Batman movies I could
I
imagine.
didn't
And
hate it.
Batman isn't even really Batman. And then he's supposed to be he's the world's greatest detective. He's a detective who doesn't solve a damn thing. He doesn't actually solve the crime in the movie. So he sucks in like every possible way. And then there's all sorts of other stuff problems that I had with it. And then people talking about this being the most badass Batmobile. You wouldn't even know that car was a Batmobile unless someone told you. It's a stupid muscle car. It's terrible. So that I did not like that Batman, but man, I'm not surprised that they would give Matt Reeves another shot at another thing, especially after Penguin, which was very well made. It was a very, very good show, and definitely deserves kudos for for that production. Uh,
Also, the thing is that yeah, I agree with you about Penguin. That I think that in that case they did something better. Uh, in addition, I still think, even though when I got out of it, I liked, I guess, the Batman better than you. I didn't sit there thinking it was the best thing ever. I had some issues with it, but overall, all I can tell you is this. Maybe it benefited. I hadn't been in a theater in a while watching like some superhero movie. I sat there. I also went to one of those theaters where you could like drink whiskey and watch it. Somehow the movie grew on me. Was it too long? Sure. Were there some issues with it? Yes. Did I think Robert Pattinson is the best thing I've ever seen? No. Did they make him kind of a dum dum? Sure. Did they have that girl boss Zoe Kravitz thing going on there? Sure. There were issues. There were certainly issues, but I don't know why. Whether it's the atmosphere or something like that, I still felt that at least it was a little bit darker or something, that it took itself a little more seriously, even if I didn't agree with every creative decision.
Sure,
Which
yeah, it was darker. It was definitely a little more grounded. My problem was that it was grounded sometimes, and then sometimes he had world-breaking levels of technology that he had available to him to provide to other people. It was so there were. I was like, what? Like that doesn't. Yeah, there were just inconsistencies there. Honestly, it is not the worst movie I've ever seen. I'm not even going to say that. It was not. It had a lot of problems and ended up, overall, just to me, it was just kind of boring. But Robert Pattinson was okay. I didn't mind him. I'm not the guy who can't see anything but the sparkly vampire when he's on screen. I think it's fine, but yeah, there were a lot of problems with that. Um, as for them making a second one, it's like okay, whatever. It's not going to be for me, I'm sure, but
I'm
uh,
hoping that the second one
yeah,
comes out better than the first one. And I'll tell you this: people are always like, "Oh, Matt Reeves, he's like the J.J. Abrams disciple." I don't know what they claim about Matt Reeves, but I will say this: I think Matt Reeves has more talent than J.J. Abrams, and I'll tell you why. Because I saw that trilogy of movies with. I don't think he did all three. I think he did two out of the three Planet of the Apes movies. I thought that those movies were well done. I'm not saying they're perfect. I'm not saying it's a perfect trilogy, but it's movies that I at least I remember the second and third one that I went to the theater to watch. It is possible that maybe I liked the first one first, and I'm not even sure he did the first one, but I did think that he did a decent job. He wasn't J.J. Abrams to me. Like, if right now I'm hiring for a job and you're telling me, like, you got to choose one, you got to choose Matt Reeves or J.J. Abrams, no doubt I'm choosing Matt Reeves. No doubt J.J. Abrams is out and I don't want to see him and I'm not hiring him for anything. Even if like the job was to like water my plants, I still wouldn't hire J.J. Abrams. Like, there is no job in the world that like I would interview for that I would hire J. James unless like the job is like professional, and this is just in my opinion, professional creative con man weasel. That's like the only job I would consider him for, unless you have that as a position, which I don't know which company would have that inside like their workforce. Matt Reeves gets the job. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Is that fair to say, or like, or you're.
No, I think that's fair. Yeah.
So basically, what happened is that James Gunn heard that Matt Reeves was doing this Clayface. When he arrived, he started at the end. First of all, he arrived at DC. He did a lot of dick swing. He came in like Mr. Swinging Dick. You know what I mean? Everything he doesn't like, he needs to get rid of. Like, Cavill, next to Affleck, Gal Gadot, and he's like, well, people say, well, he didn't hire Cavill. It doesn't matter whether he hired or not. I mean, when you're the coach of a team and you arrive and like LeBron James is on your team, you can arrive and say, I don't want him on my team anymore. But in most cases, if like you have a few stars on your team and you're the new coach, you're not going to get rid of them. Uh, especially at the time that it seemed like they were giving Henry Cavill another chance to make some kind of movie. And at the time, not even with Zack Snyder's involvement, mind you. You know what I mean? There was just talk about him doing a Superman movie, which I think everybody would have been cool with. Uh, so you had that situation with Henry Cavill. Ben Affleck also, like, it looked for a while that he wasn't really, they weren't cool with him, but suddenly he came to do those reshoots with Aquaman 2. Then James Gunn shows up. They delete the Aquaman 2 reshoots with Ben Affleck, and basically they got rid of him. Ben Affleck is actually the only guy that had something to say about it, because James Gunn did his thing. James Gunn wanted to come in, have a big ego, do swinging dick, show everybody that he's the best and he can do everything his way. And then at the same time, he wanted everybody to say that he's a swell guy. You know what I mean? He wanted everybody to say, look, he's such a great guy, this James Gunn. So when he basically got rid of Ben Affleck, he said something to the press along the lines of, well, maybe one day like Ben Affleck will come direct a movie for me. And Ben Affleck, if I'm not mistaken, went to the press and said, no, I didn't say that I would direct a movie for him. Like, he even added a sentence like, I am not involved in the creative direction of what he's doing, or something like that, which like, it was as blunt as you were going to get from him. I don't remember the quote exactly, but he actually set the record straight and said, I'm not going to direct a movie there. So he wouldn't let James Gunn do his little slippery thing. When it came to Wonder Woman, they already had a contract. You could like 1984, you could not like it, but I think that Gal Gadot was good as Wonder Woman. She had a contract for a third movie. Supposedly, I guess, Patty Jenkins did too. James Gunn basically wanted to just get rid of both of them, so he thought of a very clever solution. And don't get me wrong, there's problems with 1984 and there's issues with Patty Jenkins and the way she wrote and directed 1984. I'm not taking that away from anybody. But James Gunn, what did he do? Do you remember?
Didn't he kind of set up a meeting to make it sound like she refused to do it or something? I don't remember the details.
Okay. He used a very, very interesting tactic. He showed up and he said, "I love it. I love Wonder Woman 3. I love it. I love Patty Jenkins. I love Gal Gadot, and we're going to make this movie. I just want to meet up with these ladies." So he meets up with either both of them or Patty Jenkins alone or both of them, whatever it was. And he says, great, and they say, well, here's our screenplay. There's a screenplay here. I'll show it to you. So he takes the screenplay, he reads it or whatever it is. I think he has another meeting or whatever it is, or maybe they send him. He basically says, listen, I don't like this screenplay. You got to do something else. So they said, okay. So I guess Patty Jenkins tried to do something else. And then I think either she sent or whatever it is. At the end, I think that Patty Jenkins, this is the way I feel. I feel like he set up a trap for her and she fell for it. What do I mean? And maybe there was no other way. After a few times that he told her, no, this isn't a good screenplay. I need another screenplay. I think she said something like, you don't really care about this screenplay. You just want to get rid of me. And then she said, like, you think you're going to sit around and do this? Well, fuck you, or whatever it is. I'm not saying, I don't know exactly the words that were said there. I'm speculating. And then like there was a big issue. And then she got up and it's like, oh, Patty Jenkins has quit the production. But she didn't. it's not that she got up one day and was itching to quit it as much as, like, in my humble opinion, James Gunn really, really wanted this because as opposed to like Cavill and Ben Affleck and whatever, like it or not, Gal Gadot and Patty Jenkins had some credentials to show that they actually made some money for the studio. So, and they had a contract. So it wasn't the same as the other situation. So in order to get rid of them, he needed it to come from them. So he used the tactic of I'll be a douche and maybe they'll leave. And with Patty Jenkins, it worked. And once that, oh, she's so difficult, she's so difficult. That was like the vibe that was spreading. Maybe she is difficult. Maybe she's a very difficult woman. I have no idea. All I know is that he knew how to sort of push the narrative in a way that he wanted and for her to leave. And at the end of the day, he was maybe kind of banking on the fact that Jenkins and Gal Gadot were kind of partners and working together on it, that if he can get rid of her, he'll just get rid of her. Even though Gal Gadot was kind of neutral about it, she was diplomatic. She said, "We'll see. I'd be very excited." This and that never happened. Basically, he wanted to fire her, but he wanted to make it seem like he didn't fire her. And he did that. He got rid of everybody. He got and then at the end, it's like, well, I can do things my way. Some people may claim that maybe he went to Zaslav and said, "We don't need all these legacy, actors. We can do it on the cheap. I'll show you how we do these movies cheaper, how we do this, how we do that." Even if, let's say, he convinced him, he didn't deliver on that because most of these projects had a ton of reshoots, anyways. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Superman, nobody talks about it. I still think until this day we don't even know what the budget for that was. He had to shoot more. He had to do this. He had to do that. And Supergirl, forget about it. I absolutely don't believe that her budget is the budget because they had to add Lobo and Superman as Clark Kent to that movie. There's millions of extra dollars there that they had to shove into that movie to just make it presentable. And between you and me, it wasn't even that.
Sure. Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, again, I'm not defending. I'm not saying that Matt Reeves is perfect. I'm not saying that Wonder Woman 1984 was perfect. It was not a good movie. I think that they learned some bad lessons from the first Wonder Woman movie. The first Woman movie had a production where there were a few people writing a screenplay. It was a production where like Patty Jenkins was given a lot of credit as a director, which she can do. I mean, she's done some movies before that were legitimate, and I think that she's not a bum. But I think that on the one hand, they gave her credit, but it wasn't unlimited carte blanche. You know what I mean? She had some credit, but not unlimited. It wasn't like the American Express Black Card, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. Couldn't
So,
just cash that in for however much she wanted, right?
right.
Yeah.
So when the first movie happened and the whole narrative of like, I'm a competent woman, whatever, she's like, well, what if I wrote it? What if I did this? What if I'm that? What if I'm that? And it's like, no, sometimes you gotta be the director. I mean, uh, not every director is a writer. People always seem to think that, like, and this the same thing happened with like Ryan Johnson. He could direct a few things. Ryan Johnson, as much as and again, this is my personal opinion, thinking that he's a very big weasel. If you gave Ryan Johnson a screenplay where he has no input whatsoever as to what happens in that screenplay and just needs to make sure that the cameras are there rolling and that the scenes go from A to B and do whatever, he could probably direct it. You know what I mean? Like he's not
Oh,
the
sure. Yeah.
worst if you just don't let him do even the little bit of creative input. The second that he has one word to say, the movie is over. You know what I mean? Like it's done. The second that he has like one idea, he's finished. I mean, I've said also even about Zack Snyder, I don't mind his visual kind of aesthetic and like, certain things that he does and certain visuals and ideas that he has. I don't mind it. I just wish that like I think that it's better if other,
Yes.
what'd you say?
No, he has no business writing a film. Yeah,
That's it. That's it. And I say this. I'm not being mean. It's like not most people can't write a screenplay. I don't know why people thought it was so easy to write it. It used to be like there used to be a situation in Hollywood that you had people that were like strong in writing. You know what I mean? There were screenwriters. You wanted them to write your movie, and then a director that's competent would walk in and do something. Even recently, when I talk about Steven Spielberg and his Disclosure Day movie, one of the things that I was saying was, and this was his biggest mistake, and the thing that I really thought that showed that he's not on top of his game, is that years ago he was the type of guy that he looks at a screenplay and he knows in his mind, he sees the movie, he knows if it's working or not. And I think that this time, the fact that he said, okay, let me film Disclosure Day, this screenplay is good enough, that means that there's a problem. Do you know what I'm saying? That means he's not on top of his game. Because
oh, sure.
20 years ago, 30 years ago, Spielberg would have never read that screenplay and thought, okay, let's roll film.
Hmm.
So I guess
Yeah,
what I'm saying
it's a
is,
mess.
and that's a guy that I have a lot of respect for, but he also didn't, write all of his movies or whatever. Even let's say, it's one thing maybe you have a few story ideas or things like that, but it's always good to have the people around you that actually know how to write something. When you look even at like George Lucas, yeah, I guess Star Wars, he wrote it. A lot of people helped behind the scenes, especially with like the dialogue and things like that. I'll give him the credit that he gets. But Empire Strikes Back, which is the best movie out of the trilogy, I that he didn't really write
He
that
didn't write
screenplay.
it. No, he didn't.
Yeah, and it's the best one, and,
Yeah. He had a rough draft. He had an idea. Here's the story that we want to tell. Here's where we're going to start, where we're going to end. And yeah, he had an actual screenwriter come in and work on it. He had a different director come in and direct it, right?
uh Adrian Veidt says Zach actually respected the source material. Man of Steel is basically Superman's secret origins in the Earth One. A lot can be said, and then a lot of people can say a lot of things, but I will say one thing. This is what I think. Zack Snyder to me never gave me the feeling that he's just some cynical, malicious guy that hates Superman and is grumpy that he even has to do these movies. You could say that maybe like he had a childish way of approaching it, that he was too passionate and excited, and sometimes to a fault, and sometimes like he has like this idea that he's passionate about, and maybe he shouldn't pursue it. But I never felt malice. I felt that like there were things that annoyed me, or I said like I would not have done this, but I didn't feel like he was malicious. Whereas
No,
James Gunn, it seems like he's grumpy that he even has to do these movies. Do you get what I mean? Like it's not like his Superman is not his thing, because he's this kind of grumpy, cynical guy that doesn't like heroes or whatever it is. And like I said, you could say Zack Snyder is almost this like to a fault excited little kid that he's happy that he has all his toys or whatever. I still would prefer seeing a guy who's excited about doing something, even if he does it in a flawed way, than a guy that like is miserable that he has to do it.
yeah.
That's my personal opinion.
Zack Snyder is very much like he is a rule of cool kind of guy, right? He wants it to be kind of fun and interesting and big and he's like I said, he wants the films to be cool. He also, I think, he actually cares about the source material when he's making something that's not his. When he's making 300 or Watchmen, like he actually does kind of care about the source
I
material,
like those
make
movies.
sure that that's actually represented in the film that he's making. And yes, those films are enjoyable. I have my problems with both, but they're enjoyable films. I like sitting down and watching those movies, even with the issues that they have there. And so yeah, I think Zack Snyder definitely has, uh, has been given too long a leash, perhaps. He's been given that the Visa Black credit card, whatever, American Express Black
The
credit
American
card,
Express Black
when,
Card, yeah,
when he
like Patty
shouldn't have,
Jenkins, yeah.
when he shouldn't have been. He's been given all of that leeway to make your own masterpiece, and he should be more tightly controlled. There should be somebody who's a very experienced, very capable writer producing the material. If they're adapting something, there needs to be some input from the original author. There needs to be input from the artists and everything to kind of build this out. And he can then be in charge of making sure that story and the visuals and everything are put on screen, like we got with 300, Watchmen, and so on, right? So, but yes, as a screenwriter, oh my God, just proven himself with the two Rebel Moon films to be an absolute disaster. He does not need to be writing a film. And then, yeah,
But I
you
still
get
I preferred the atmosphere in his movies. People are saying about Man of Steel, and I have to be fair. Man of Steel, as much as I dislike the Pa Kent death scene and even Superman killing Zod, it is fair to point out how involved Christopher Nolan was in that movie. Christopher Nolan, I think, has a writing credit on that screenplay.
he
He was a,
does,
he
yes.
was a hands-on producer on it after the Dark Knight trilogy. I think that there's a lot of weight to whatever Christopher Nolan wanted, especially in that movie, and I can't just pin it all on Zack Snyder. He like at the end of the day, I think that a lot of people give Christopher Nolan a pass on Man of Steel, and whatever they may or liked or not liked, they always kind of overlook how heavily he was involved. So in that movie, as much as like you often hear me complaining about Pakhan's death, Superman fighting Zod and not caring about the civilians in those buildings there, I didn't mind the visuals. I didn't mind the casting. I thought that the cast was great. There's a certain atmosphere in the movie that I like, but those moments in the movie really are an issue for me. And I will always, and I've said it many times. If you took Man of Steel and you didn't make Pakhan die that way, and you didn't make Superman kill Zod, and even that fight with the buildings, if you change those three things, the movie, in my opinion, jumps like leaps and bounds. You know what I mean? Like it becomes a much better movie if you were able to fix it. And there's no way to correct that. You know what I mean? It is what it is. I will still say that. I would rather have conversations with people about not liking those scenes and still respecting that there's Superman on screen with Henry Cavill playing him than whatever it is that Gunn did later. Because once I saw like Gunn's version, it felt like he wasn't even, you know, it's not that he did things that I didn't think that were right canonically. Canonically, it just felt like he didn't even care what Superman was. He just disrespected him in his own movie, in my opinion.
Yeah,
So
agreed.
yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, if anything, it's very strange. I don't think a lot of people expected that James Gunn would be so annoying that even people that may not have been like the number one Snyder fans are like, well, at least you saw kind of Superman on screen and kind of took it a little more seriously. Like it didn't feel like he has a chore. Like, James Gunn was like, oh, I didn't even want to make this movie until I saw Crypto. I'm like, that's what made you make this movie? What's wrong with you? Yeah, I mean, Kodo Rob said he's made a mockery of Superman,
Yep.
and the thing is when that movie came out, and even with Evil Jor-El and all that stuff, people said, there were people said, and I'm not upset. I want to tell you, I don't get upset at people that I know that even like a movie that I don't like. That happens sometimes. Sometimes Professor and I, there's a movie that I'll like, he won't like, and vice versa. That can happen. We're still friends. It happened. Where was it recently? The Angry Badger. I like Badger. A lot of times we agree about stuff, and we're very happy when we do because we can both zero in on things that we don't like about something. Sometimes suddenly we'll be on opposing sides of something, and we'd really like start taking digs and stuff, and we have different feelings about it. I still respect him. It's fine if he liked it. Recently, I think with He-Man and the Masters of the Universe, I disliked that movie very, very much, and he liked the movie. And we had a conversation. Okay, I liked it. I didn't like it. And it's fine. It's not the end of the world. I also don't think that Badger liked it because he wanted to be like a jerk, you know what I mean? Like he up until it spoke to him, it didn't speak to me. I didn't like it. Like, and I'm not being a jerk for not liking it either. We're just that's it. No, there's nothing that can please everybody. But I do think that when it comes to like fans of comics and of superheroes and of certain franchises, there's a way to at least make a larger majority of the people happy. You know what I mean? Or at least somewhat happy. Gunn has been divisive for me from day one.
Oh, fair enough. Fair enough. And we got some super chats we need to get to, Price.
Oh, okay. Well, why don't you show the super chats
I
and
can just share them. That's fine. Yeah.
tell a joke while I share something? I think I wanted to share. Did I share? Did I want to share? Okay, I did share it.
Let
Yeah.
me,
Show the super chats. You can even read them.
Yeah, if I can get this to show
I trust you,
up.
Professor.
If I can get it to show up. No, I don't
Considering that I just woke up, I think that I did pretty well until now.
I don't want to show my Amazon cart. No, that's not what I was looking at.
No, don't show us that. I can only imagine the type of things you buy, Professor.
Okay, let's see. Well, we started with before we got here, Angry Sparrow joined the channel with the Leapers levels. Thank you for the
and we are very excited
for joining
about
for the
that.
membership.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you, Angry Sparrow. Doodle most certainly calls the Dead Man for 79 or Dead Man 79, not 479. Dead Man for 199. Doodle most certainly calls. I'm not sure what you were referencing there. Dead Man, do you remember, Price?
Let me see for a second. Doodle most certainly calls. I'm not 100% sure what's going
As
on here.
I mean, duty calls, but
That's what I thought, yeah.
doodle most certainly calls. Maybe Dead Man can explain it in the
Yeah, you
in the
don't have to
chat.
send another, super
Yeah.
chat. You can just tell us what it was if you want us to highlight whatever it is that you were talking about.
Let's see. Another. Oh, sorry. Another super chat from the Dead Man for $4.99. Let's say I'm completely stupid. I liked Creature Commandos. What was wrong with it? Explain it to me like I'm a 5-year-old.
Honestly, I'll give you my own impression. I put it on and I watched a bit of it, and it just I didn't it didn't grab it didn't speak to me so much. Maybe it was a good show. I don't really know. It wasn't interesting enough for me to continue to watch it. I barely now even remember what it is that I watched.
The
That's how I
show
feel.
was the show was super violent. So like over the top violent, which I'm sure that there's an audience for that. The characters, some of the characters in the show were characters, and some of them were just there. It was very, very uneven in the way that it was told, the way that it was plotted. Of course, you have the character of Frankenstein's monster, right? That is created, and he's part of the Creature Commandos, and he is an absolute simp for the bride, who was created for him, but then decided she didn't want to be around him because women don't, really powerful women don't need no man, so she left and moved on, and then he's just still simping after her for years. There's unnecessary cartoon sex scenes in the. I mean, it was a complete turnoff for me. I had no interest whatsoever in continuing to watch the show. It was not at all something I was interested in watching. Let's see. The Dead Man, another one, another $5 super chat. Same with House of the Dragon Season 3, Episode 2. I loved it. What did you expect? Well, I am not watching House of the Dragon because I'm kind of done with anything in that universe. I was talked into watching the what was it, Night of the Seven Kingdoms, right? Had tons and tons of people telling me you absolutely have to watch this. It's amazing. And so I was kind of talked into watching that one and watched that. Did enjoy it. Had some issues, but I enjoyed it. I haven't watched even a single episode of House of the Dragon. I just don't care. They ruined this universe with rushing that last season, of the first show, and Game of Thrones. And I just don't care about this universe anymore. I don't care about the characters. I don't care if it's a totally different universe and a totally different time. I also hate prequels.
Did you like Night of the Seven Kingdoms?
I did, though. Yeah, I did. I did enjoy that. It had its issues, but I did enjoy it. But I didn't watch in a single episode of that until I heard 5 or 6 people that I respect saying, "No, really, this is good. You should watch this. This is actually really good." So, yeah, that's why I eventually checked that one out. But yeah, House of the Dragon, I just don't care. I don't know. Have you been watching it, Bryce?
House of the Dragon?
Yeah.
Okay, so I watched the first season, and I actually liked it. I mean, I was basically grumpy after the season 8 of Game of Thrones. Even the seasons before season 8 were not as strong as the ones that came before. But I kind of let it slide in hopes that they'll come up with a grand finale that'll somehow wrap it up in a nice way. And I was willing to be a bit more forgiving. But then that season 8 came, and it was terrible and really hard to bounce back with such a bad ending. I think in the history of TV shows, it will very often be like looked at as the season that just destroyed the whole buildup of such a good show, and there's no way around it. So when they announced the House of the Dragon thing, I had no interest in watching it, but somehow, I don't know why, I ended up just out of sheer curiosity. I think I watched it. And when I watched it, I didn't hate it. And then I watched another episode and I didn't hate that. I watched another episode. By the end of that first season, against all odds, against everything that like I believe in, against all of my principles, I watched it and enjoyed that first season. And I said, well, it's sort of a different time frame. It's doing its own thing. And, maybe they can somehow stick the landing with this one. Then season two comes out. And man, that season two was not on the level. I know that they had issues. They had issues behind the scenes. They had writer strikes. They had all this stuff going on. But in spite of everything, I don't think that there's anything that justifies how bad that second season was in comparison to the first. It was a significant dip in quality, so much so that by the time this new season came around, I didn't even notice there was like a premiere. Like somebody said something, but I didn't even bother, like, quote unquote, marking my calendar. I couldn't even really care less about it. And then I guess there was one episode, then another episode. I haven't seen either of them yet. I may try to make an effort, uh, not because I love it so much, or because I don't like not being in the know. So maybe I'll make an effort and watch these episodes. If you want to know like my level of excitement, first season I thought was solid, and I really was eager to see what they do next. Season two kind of ruined it for me. It's as if like they did what happened with Game of Thrones, but they got there much quicker. You know what I mean? Like
Yep.
they didn't wait till the eighth season. They just very quickly like kind of dipped in quality significantly.
Yeah. So that was basically someone asked me about it, and I essentially said, would I watch it? What would you need to do to watch it? Whatever. And essentially I said, when the show's over. When it's done, it's put in the ground, and everyone says, yeah, that was a good show. That was really good. Yeah, there's some stuff in the middle that wasn't great, but yeah, you should definitely check that out. It was a good show. I'd be like, yeah, okay, maybe I'll go back and check it out. But the way they completely ruined, I mean, literally, 7 years of watching Game of Thrones, and putting, there were ups and downs in the seasons. There were, things here and there that I didn't love, but there were, it was overall, it was really enjoyable. And then when it comes to the end, that last season just ruined the whole thing. I have not gone back to watch any of that show, which I loved. I really enjoyed. Haven't gone back to watch a single episode of it because the ending was such a downer, so stupid that it just ruined the entire show. So if they finish House of the Dragon and everyone says, "Oh yeah, this was really good," and okay, well maybe I'll go back and check it out. But yeah, no, not. I just don't care enough to bother with it week to week.
I understand.
There's so many things now that it's like, oh, well, the first season's real good. You should check it out. And then from then on out, it's just like downhill, right? The first season of Severance is some of the best television I've ever seen. It's incredibly well plotted, well acted, really mysterious and interesting, and it really draws you in, and the mystery of what's going on. And even the ending of the season, bam, just out of the park. Second season was worse than disappointing. Well, it was a mess.
I'll tell you why, and this happens a lot, especially in stuff that's like science fiction and this kind of high concept thing. If you don't have a proper blueprint for what you're going to do for the next like 5 seasons, most of the time you're not going to be able to get out of it. So they created this cool first season with so many interesting mysteries, or call them whatever you want. I wouldn't even say mystery boxes, but there are a lot of questions that need to be answered. They leave it on this kind of suspenseful note. You're so eager to learn what happens. And it's obvious that they had no plan. It reminds me a bit, and I hate to say it, of J.J. Abrams. Now, J.J. Abrams wasn't capable of doing something like Severance season 1, because I think it was cooler than anything Abrams has done. But at the same time, the problem is still there, and it's the same problem he had with Lost. Lost, like the first season, captured a lot of people, and everybody's like, wow, this J.J. Abrams guy, except for me. I always take pride that before all the weird shit that people were kissing his ass, I saw Lost, I watched a few episodes, and I said, this is bullshit. This is some weird thing that they'll never have any answers, and it's a waste of my time. And I watched a bit of the first season, and I said, that's it, I'm done. I don't want anything to do with it. And then years, people watched it, and at the end, they learned. It took them years to understand what I already got immediately. So I'm very proud of myself that I spared myself watching all that shit for no reason. Sorry, Sean. So I guess like Severance, again, it's some like high concept thing. Unless they have a real thought out plan, it's not worth anything. And they obviously didn't have a plan. They also did a lot of reshoots for the second season. They were trying to salvage it and save it and do all this stuff. But I can't even remember what happens in that second season now. In a way that it's like it's just not good enough for me to remember. Do you get what I mean?
Exactly. Yes.
Just dumb
Totally.
shit, just
Yeah.
dumb,
Yeah.
stupid shit, and I don't think there's any way for it to recover. I think it's done.
Yep.
When you make a mistake like that in a show like that in its second season, very hard to bounce back.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know where they're going to go with it from here. A lot of people in the chat suggesting some shows that are really good, or seasons at least. Like, In a Disguise, first season of True Detective. Yes, first season of True Detective, incredibly well made.
Incredible.
Great
Then
acting, fantastic script. It's shot so well. That first season is a masterpiece. The second season was just a total mess. It was a disaster. The third season actually redeemed it a bit. It was a very interesting story. It was not nearly as well tightly, plotted as that first season, but it was still very enjoyable. And I love Mahershala Ali. He's just a fantastic actor, and his performance in that season was really good. Um, some other people making some other suggestions. Six says, I'm worried about Pluribus because I don't think they have a plan. Yeah, no, I don't think they do either, unfortunately. I'm not sure where they plan to go with it. If they do, why is it taking so long for them to get around to a second season? It's going to take them like a year and a half to
I'll
film a
tell you,
second season.
the only thing I'll say is this: out of all those bums, I think that Vince Gilligan is the one guy that, even if like he does a lot of things, he has a lot of creative solutions to for that. You got that in Breaking Bad, you got that in Better Call Saul, and I think that in those cases he was able to do it. The problem is that this one is more of a sci-fi situation. It's a little more tricky with that, and I guess time will tell if like Gilligan can deliver the goods when it comes to Pluribus. I'm going to give him a chance. I
Yeah, no,
haven't written him off. Giving him a chance whenever that second season comes out, I'm giving it a fair chance. I'm rooting for Vince Gilligan, but if he does the thing with like Severance season 2 and all those other things, if it falls off the cliff, I'm not going to spare him, even though I like him. You know what I mean?
yeah,
As much as I like Vince Gilligan, not going to spare him. The same way that I also always tell you that I think that Better Call Saul was a fantastic series, and everything I saw about it I thought was good until the last 15 minutes of the last episode, which kind of uh, do some things that I think are a problem, and it's such a shame because like until that moment it was really good. Uh, it's not as bad as like a Game of Thrones situation. It's not like a Game of Thrones season 8 situation. It's just like I think by now I don't want to spoil it for people if they didn't watch it, but I would say that the last 15 minutes have the main character acting in a way that doesn't seem ring true to the character that we've seen throughout 2 series. You know what I mean? He acts in a way at the end that I don't believe, and that's the problem for me. That he acts in a way that I don't believe in order to make some kind of statement, which I disagree with. And I think that at the end of the day, if you have a guy that we've seen throughout 2 series and we know what makes him tick, I don't like that suddenly something else makes him tick that's not as cool.
mm-hmm.
That's my personal opinion.
Yep. Yep.
Hold on one second.
And Mark D says, hope they don't mess up Pluribus. First season was top notch TV. It had its issues for me, but I did overall kind of enjoy it. A lot of people were saying, oh, it's lots of feminist stuff, whatever. I didn't think so. It was clearly, the central character is a lesbian, right? She's going to have a different worldview. She's not going to want to be around men. She's going to be wary of men for various reasons, right? So there's reasons for her, acting the way that she does, and also she's just kind of an asshole, right?
Right.
That's who she is. That's the character that she's embodying. So her decisions and the way that she acts here and there, they make sense. It's fine. But in the end, I don't know. I didn't love the way they had the season plotted out. But yes, I will give the second season a chance. I hope that they're going somewhere really deep and interesting with the story that they're telling. And I know Vince Gilligan is a good storyteller, you know, excellent showrunner. So hopefully, yeah, that is going to take us somewhere. But yeah, who knows, right?
It's not, she's not presented as perfect because she's like one way or another. I mean,
Oh,
I don't have an
she's an
issue.
absolute mess. Yeah, that's, to
Right.
see a female character that's as messy and awful as she is kind of refreshing.
Right, but not in a Supergirl way. It actually is,
No,
it's like, see, the thing is with Supergirl, and this is the problem. James Gunn wants to do this kind of messy jerk, whatever, but the problem is that it doesn't work for a character like Supergirl, who's supposed to be a more kind of noble superhero. If she is not noble and not a superhero and she just wants to be a jerk, that doesn't work for Supergirl. It could work for some character that he invented that could be like a jerk, and then you either like that or not. But within the context of DC, and I think that's the problem, he keeps trying to shoehorn other things and make them DC and make them Superman and make them Supergirl and make them whatever, but things that don't need to be there. You know what I mean? It seems like he's not willing to just, as much as he claims to like comic books or whatever it is, he's not willing to just take them and do something that even mildly resembles, or even in spirit, captures something from these comics. Obviously, throughout the years, you have Batman 66, you have Batman 89, you have Christopher Nolan's Dark Knight trilogy. Those are all very different in tone, but in their own way, I feel like all of them still have some kind of respect for whatever that character is. You know what I'm saying? There's
exactly.
still
Yeah.
something that I still feel at its core, that it knows it needs to respect that character and have some kind of reverence for it, whatever it is. Once you get to James Gunn, he doesn't care about any of that. It's like it's all like the James Gunn show. You know what I mean? It's all about his quirky, weird shit. And yeah, it doesn't work. I think there's another super chat below the one that you were showing.
Yeah. So yeah, this one just says Deadman 79 for $1.99 says Price just doesn't like anything. Just kidding.
It's
And
okay. It's
yeah,
fine.
Deadman also says, here's to Nick's Beefaroni Fund.
You should check
And
out the Dead Man's channel. He does stuff about Star Trek, the Dead Man 79. You should check it out. And yeah, Nick's great. I don't know if you guys know, I had a chance in recent months. Nick was like, "Hey, I'm doing this cool thing. I want to watch some old, like some Star Trek episode with you and hang out and whatever." It was on his channel, and I went and we had a really great stream. I really like Nick. Nick is a guy that I feel like I've spent logged in a lot of hours streaming with Nick. Same with CC Karaoke. People that until today, I wish I wish I would see more of them than I do. Uh, Somehow we don't see so much of each other these days. But if any of them, if they ever get in touch with me, I'm always happy to see them. That all goes back from those midnight after dark days. Uh, Also, Tom, from time to time, we also exchange a DM, or even, sometime in recent months, there was we did like kind of top secret stream, which was cool. We spent a lot of times over there on that channel, and there were a lot of good things that happened there. So I like those guys, and I only wish Nick the best.
alrighty.
Six says, I miss Price and Nick together. Nick is great. I think that at these hours that we do this kind of late night stream, he's usually kind of more on the sleeping side, so it's not so easy. But I'm absolutely sure that we're gonna see him at some point doing something. And yeah, still consider him a friend of mine and like him very much. So that's in regards to that super chat. Uh, Mark D with the C says, Nick is the best, the kind of guy that doesn't mind if you puke in his car. Well, I did not know that. I've never puked in Nick's car, but I will take your word for it. Uh, Now back to James Gunn, what we were talking about. We went in a lot of different directions here, Professor, but let's go back to this James Gunn thing. A lot of people now, especially in the industry or even these other, like, more independent newspapers, they're like, we have a scoop. James Gunn, his future could be in jeopardy. And it's like, this is not really much of a scoop. You know what I mean? First of all, I want to say this, and I've said it. This is one of those things that I was telling you. If you go and ask Grok, in some cases I've shown you before, that you ask who's the first that said who's the first that said that. With the release of Superman in 2025, James Gunn already ran into problems. This is before Warner Brothers even went through the sale. Maybe they wanted to go through a sale. Maybe there was talk of a sale. They wanted their stock to stay up. They wanted to make it seem like Superman's a success. But behind closed doors, I had told you that, and I 100% stand behind it. And this is one of the things that first appeared on my main channel, where I explained that behind the scenes, and this, I don't have to be a detective. I've worked at companies before. Sometimes it has to do with entertainment, sometimes companies that had nothing to do with entertainment. But, Professor, you also know a thing or two about business. You teach stuff. If there's a movie that was supposed to launch a whole cinematic universe, and that movie that they thought would make $1 billion makes like, an amount that doesn't even break even at the box office, that behind closed doors would be considered a disappointment. No?
Absolutely. They're not going to talk about it publicly, but they're going to look at those books and they're going to know that the this movie that's supposed to be the cornerstone of other movies that come after it was not a success. Now, just that movie alone being a failure isn't necessarily going to be enough for a studio to say, write everything off, get rid of everything else, because obviously there's more opportunities to win the audience back. If it's the first one in a series of films or in a collection of media that they've decided to produce together, maybe that one just didn't land. Maybe because it's the first one out, it's not built up any momentum yet. Whatever, you do want to have an opportunity to kind of build momentum, right? It's just like with a new TV show, right? If the first 3 episodes aren't good, or don't really draw in a lot of audience, that doesn't necessarily mean that the rest of the show isn't going to do that. You have to give it some time. So the first movie being, a little rough, not quite winning the day like they had hoped, isn't going to be the end likely of their efforts there. But especially since they have contracts, right? They have contracts with actors, contracts with directors, contracts with the producers. They're going to make another one. But as those losses start to mount, as there's more and more pushback to what they're trying to make, right? Again, Creature Commandos, critically acclaimed, did absolutely nothing viewership-wise. Nobody cared. They're about to get Green Lantern, excuse me, not Green Lantern, Lanterns, or Brown Lanterns, as I prefer to call it. That is going to be a critically acclaimed series that is going to absolutely be panned by people on YouTube, by the fans. They're going to hate it because it's not going to be Green Lantern. We can already see it in the trailers. It's not Green Lantern. It's Gunn's cynical, hateful version of Green Lanterns, and it's going to suck. We're going to get, we already got Supergirl this year, which was, has been, continues to be a huge failure in the box office. Going to lose them hundreds of millions of dollars by the time they're done. We know that Gunn's contract is coming up next year, right? That contract is going to be coming up next year. He's going to have a string of failures on his plate, an absolute smorgasbord of failures to look at. And we're going to say, or the studio executives are going to say, yeah, this isn't going so well. And yeah, the likelihood is that no, unless something happens. Man of Tomorrow is a monstrous $1 billion+ hit. Everyone loves it, and finally everyone's starting to get behind Gunn and understand what his vision is. If that's not happening, there's not a chance. And honestly, I think at this point, with that company being sold, right, with new studio heads coming in, new, the new bosses, right? I don't think it's going to be new boss, same as the old boss in that situation. I really do think we're talking about some new people who are coming in, and they're going to be looking to clean house and start producing media, shows, films that make money. And it's not going to be about, well, Gunn is building up his universe. No, he had his chance, and it's done. and
So
his contract is over.
I agree with everything that you said. And just to toot my own horn, I put this thing in the background, which I probably have shown you this 50 times. Like, if you ask questions about like who was the first to report a lot of these things right after Superman came out, usually Grok, and I've tried this on other accounts. It's not that he's trying to flatter me because this is my account. I've tried it in other accounts that are not under this name. No matter what, Grok says that that I called it at the time, that basically I explained they wanted a certain outcome, they didn't get it, and yeah, they had two options. They could come out and say, we're really disappointed with James Gunn, and moving forward, we're only going to let him do some Superman stuff and Super Family or whatever it's called, and we want Matt Reeves to do the Batman and like screw James Gunn. They're not going to go out and say that. There's no business in the world that's going to go out and admit that there's something that they were banking on that would be a lot more successful and wasn't. They weren't going to say that. So instead, in my explanation, I said behind the scenes, there's other things happening than what we're being told publicly. And whatever I said then, later he would come out and suddenly start saying, I'm working on the Superman family or whatever it is. Yeah, he's working on the Superman family because they said he couldn't do the Brave and the Bold. And until now, he's not making it. And I don't think that, I don't think that they're in a hurry to give him anything at this point. And if initially he came in swinging dick and saying Matt Reeves was Elseworlds and all this stuff, Matt Reeves has been, I think, a little pushing back now. He's like, listen, this guy only makes flops and he doesn't have a clear direction. My stuff, like, legitimate. I had my movie, I had my Penguin show. Clayface, by the way, was a Matt Reeves project. Matt Reeves wanted to do Clayface. James Gunn never wanted to do Clayface. It was actually Matt Reeves that wanted to do it, and he actually took the reins on it, and he was considered the producer of the movie. Now, what happened was, is James Gunn, when he arrived, caught wind of it, and he went and started doing his little political maneuvering behind the scenes, and said, "Hey, I'm like the big boss now. I didn't agree to this. I have my own vision for Clayface." And it's like, you have your own vision for Clayface? I bet you this man did not think about Clayface even for 1 second. You know what I mean? He had his
Mhm.
own vision because he didn't want Matt Reeves to have it. So that's why when you look at the movie Clayface, you'll see that there's Matt Reeves still gets a production credit on it. And James Gunn does as well. It's the only one of those things that you'll see both of them getting the credits on. The reason why they both get the credits on it is because contractually, in order to take it away from Matt Reeves, they couldn't remove him from the project that was initially his. It's not a matter of like feelings or who's popular or who's nice. It's a contract. You know what I'm saying? All
Yep.
they could do was say to him, listen, you're still going to remain here. If the thing makes money, you'll get a cut, you'll do whatever, you'll get your producer, you'll get your back end, whatever it is that they have to offer him. But like James Gunn became the quote unquote driving creative force. You know what I mean? And it shows you a lot of also the mess there, how everything is about like sort of on shaky ground there. Uh, I still think that if you ask me, and this is just here in the background, so you saw that it says that I was the one that did it. I feel like producer Patrick on the scene. I'm just leaving it up there. Screw it. You guys can look at it. So the thing is that I've always said this, and I've showed you. I'm not going to start pulling out videos from like 2022 and 2023 or whatever it was, but I've always, even then, I've shown you videos that have aged like fine wine. I'm saying like 5 minutes after he gets appointed, and then when he did his presentation, I said the same thing at the time. And everything that I said was like spot on. And at the end, I've said this to you before. I think that at this point, people like us understand how these things work much better than these successful Hollywood executives. We, I think, are more in touch with what viewers and fans and things like that are actually interested in, and some of these people are completely out of touch. I will say it. I said it then, and I'll say it now. And now a lot of people are saying it, and it's fine. But I said it right away then. James Gunn had one thing that he needed to do, and this is what I would have done if I were him, and if I wasn't a big ego guy, and if I wasn't swinging dick and all that stuff. I would have said, I'm making one movie with Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman, and I'll take Cavill, Affleck, and Gal Gadot, who was already like in part of that universe. Now he makes a movie. The movie could be functioning as two things. One, it could be the end of the DCEU, a respectful ending, one that seemingly brings all these stories to a close. However wobbly this universe was, like I said all the time, all the movies I went to the theater, I paid money, I sat through every movie, even the good ones, the bad ones. I sat through Blue Beetle, I sat through whatever the fuck, what else was there? What other shit was there? Aquaman 2. I've sat
The
through The Flash.
Flash.
So I sat through the Flash. I went to a fan opening, like the thing where diehard fans go to see this stupid Flash movie. I was there, like it was a packed place, a bunch of weird shills. I was there watching it, you know. But even like the earlier ones, all the different ones, like every single movie, the Snyder ones, the other ones. I was every movie that you could see in a movie theater. I think all of them except for maybe like Wonder Woman 1984 because there was like the Couve or something. So I think they're all the movies except for that one I saw in a movie theater, which means you go out, you pay money, you pay all this stuff for the drinks, for the stuff, getting there, and all this shit. It costs like $1 million to go to the movies these days. Even then, I paid all those years, and then they're just like, nah, it doesn't matter anymore. And I said, it does matter. It matters to me. I don't even give a shit. Just make a movie and wrap it up. So I think that if they were smart, immediately the second he arrives, fast track a movie that doesn't suck, that has these three characters in it. Now, if the movie would have been like the biggest slam dunk success ever, and finally these characters are really done justice in a way that I think everybody gets behind, you could possibly make more. Or you say, okay, well, this was a nice send off to all these people, and then you take a break and a breather for a few years, quietly build something that you're relaunching a universe, try to do anything that, like, you have some time and you think how to do it in the best possible way. He didn't choose that. He walked in, fired everybody. You could say he didn't have to hire them. It wasn't his choice. He didn't hire them. I've heard every version of this, but at the end of the day, there's a very clear thing that he came in there and swinging dick and said, I want to get rid of everybody that's not like a James Gunn person. He kept, it's one thing if you would have said him resetting everything and then he gets rid of Peacemaker, and he gets rid of everything, and it's just like it starts from zero. You know what I mean? It's a new universe. Even then, I don't think he would have done a good job at it, clearly, but I'm saying he wanted to keep some things but didn't want to keep other things. It was a very kind of, very slippery slope there when you want to keep your wife and your brother, but there's other people that you don't want to keep. A lot of weird issues. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yes. Yeah.
So bottom line is he had an easy path to make a quick movie that, like, maybe if nothing else, just do something that shows a little respect to all the people that spent money on a company that ran it so poorly, but still spent money. You do something, for them. You don't want to do it. If you're going to come in there swinging dick and you're saying, I got the vision that's better than all of this, I know what I'm doing, I'm James Gunn, fuck you, then at least if you're going to do that, you better be the best. You know what I mean? Your Superman better be like the biggest slam dunk that ever happened. And when I say slam dunk, I mean that like 80 to 90% of the people that watch it are like excited. You're never going to get 100%. There's always going to be people that'll be like, I don't like what they did here. I didn't like this interpretation. I didn't like that interpretation. If you can get, let's say, 70, 80%, 70 to 80% of the fans to say, I really love this movie, I'm so excited, at least you're in the right direction. But he didn't do that. If he would have done that, he would have had $1 billion. He didn't do that, in my opinion. And even if you say, well, the box office isn't what it used to be, he would have had 800 million, 850 million. He wouldn't have had 615, where they spent so much money, like pumped in so much secret money in there. Until now, we don't even know how much money that movie lost at the box office. And yeah, at the end of the day, I think that it's very clear that behind the scenes, when executives like, a Zaslav or whatever it is, even before the whole merger and whatever, they didn't like it, but they wanted the company to look good and they didn't want to admit that there's anything wrong with it. So they said, okay, you're not doing Batman, you're only doing Superman. Then they did a big announcement. Matt Reeves would do Batman too, but he's going to do Man of Tomorrow. That was a way of sort of saving face.
Hmm.
And I will argue this: if James Gunn, if they didn't have this whole merger thing in the air, and with Zaslav standing to personally make like a gazillion dollars himself from it, I think that we wouldn't have even gotten Man of Tomorrow. I think that the Man of Tomorrow announcement was, still wanted to show that there was a business as usual atmosphere here. But I think that David Ellison, he's not bound to any of this. David Ellison can show up. He's gonna, let's say in the upcoming months, he's taking over, the company. He doesn't have to subscribe to any of this. He could first of all walk in and just fire Gunn immediately. I don't think he will necessarily, but there's at least a chance of it. James Gunn could get up and leave. You know what I'm saying? Like he could, just say, "Well, I don't want to work for a guy like." What could he do? This is one path that he has, and I think people have mentioned it, but it's the logical path. He could say, okay, I'm not going to work for a guy whose morals and values aren't aligned with some bullshit like that. The next thing you know, he's back at Marvel. Like some people were saying, like he'll take over the MCU. I think that's a joke. If they let him take over the MCU, they are really, silly. Because I, I, I honestly, I will say this about James Gunn. I think that it turns out that James Gunn's best work is when he's like not the first fiddle. He's not a first fiddle. He's not a guy that sits there and like has a vision to lay down for like, to run a studio. He's just not that guy. He could be a guy that maybe works for that guy, but he can't be that guy. And also, I think also that it's pretty clear that he's, I hate to say it, kind of a one trick pony. He's not coming up with a million things. It's always the same thing. It's some variation of Guardians of the Galaxy. That's what he knows how to do. And he's not able to like really do anything else. DC was the big test. And that's, I think, a lot of people, even in the videos that I said, this will be the real test. Is he going to do more Guardians of the Galaxy, or is this the part where he shows that he's a true professional, can run a studio with all these characters and really do justice to all of them? And obviously he can't. He can't get out of the Guardians of the Galaxy mold. He can't do it. And you know what? As much as I didn't mind the first Guardians of the Galaxy or whatever it is, it's already tired. You know what I mean? There's only so many times I can watch the same thing over and over again. So, where was I? Why was I saying all of this, Professor? How did we get here?
just talking about all this to James Gunn and
So David
how
Ellison,
things are going there.
and
Yeah.
we've said this, and I've said this a long time, and we've said it here on this channel, and I will say that, like, to be a producer, Patrick, very early on, before a lot of like the talking heads now are saying, including the industry trades, we've always said the same thing. Gunn only has a contract that goes until spring or something like that, or whatever it is, spring, summer.
Yeah, I think it's till next August.
Yeah,
Gunn's
2027. Mid 2027 is when Gunn's contract ends. David Ellison could show up and realize that he has this Lanterns thing and he has this Man of Tomorrow thing, and he can have a meeting with James Gunn and he can say this: I'm not greenlighting any more projects. You're not making anything else. Nothing is happening. Let's see how those projects do. Now, James Gunn may like it, or maybe they all agree that after Man of Tomorrow he's out. Whatever it is, I don't know. All I know is this. David Ellison, all he has to do is nothing. He can sit there, let that contract run for a year. The second it's done, it's done. I don't think that it's worth it for anybody at this point, on a business level, to walk in and say, "Hey, I'm going to pull the plug on Lanterns and we'll shelve it," and "Hey, I'm going to pull the plug on Man of Tomorrow and we'll never show it." He could do that and do like a Batwoman, Batgirl, whatever it was, right off. But I don't think that he is going to do that. I think crazy things have happened in entertainment, so you never know. But I don't think that that's necessarily the right play. I think that he could just say, "Well, let's see how those movies do," and when they don't do well, it's just like, okay, we're not going to renew his agreement. And I've told you this before. They can do an announcement and say, "We love James Gunn. We love he like I told you, he took over this thing at a I can't say this word. Tumultuous time. Is that the way I say it? Tumultuous time. He took over the franchise in a tumultuous time. He did the best he could and navigated through tough waters." That's what I would do if I were Ellison. I would say Gunn had to navigate through some tough waters, and he sure is a jolly good fellow. We wish him luck in whatever ventures he goes, and packs his shit and leaves. We wish him the best. Yeah, that's the direction of what they do. That's the smart thing. I still think that maybe James Gunn, knowing that that's how it's going to go, is going to cause like an issue, so he can create a narrative, because that's all that interests him. He really cares about these narratives. Create a narrative that he's the misunderstood genius that had to leave, and on his terms or whatever it is. We may see something like that, but I just. Anything is possible. It could be possible that Ellison shows up and he's like, "I love flops. I want a bunch more flops. Like, please give me more of them." But I think that in most cases, somebody looks and says, "Well, if all of this stuff, Peacemaker season 2 dropped most of its audience, Superman lost money at the box office, and Supergirl is one of the biggest superhero flops maybe, in the past few decades or something." I don't know. I don't know what the incentive is. The only thing that could save Gunn, and I don't think it will, Lanterns comes out and is the best thing that ever happened. The best thing. No, I'm serious. if it comes out
Yeah.
and people are like, this is the best, and it becomes like, think of Game of Thrones in the early few seasons, and it's like everybody's talking about it, it's the hottest show, and all of America, as much of a cultural impact, even I won't go to Game of Thrones season one, let's say like Penguin. If Lanterns is like gets the reception that Penguin got, maybe at least he could say, "Look, I did something," and he can earn a few credits. Maybe if Man of Tomorrow comes out and surprisingly it's the best thing that ever happened, and everybody's like, it's like the new Avengers movie, like makes like $1 billion. Sure, that could change his fortunes, but man, I would be really surprised if that's the case. The only thing that may end up making money, and I say may because I'm not even sure, is Clayface. You know, Clayface, if it was made for $5 million, it would make money, but for 40 million, it still has to make like 100 million. Maybe it will. It's sort of body horror. It's almost like not even. It's not even really like the main DC thing. It's like it's such a niche kind of other thing that has almost nothing to do with it, that it may work, it may not, but I don't know. He'll maybe earn a few points of goodwill if that movie makes a ton of movie money at the box office. That that could maybe help him, but I don't know. Again, when you look at that movie, does that really symbolize what the DC universe is? Is it really the DCU?
No, I mean,
Not really.
no, not really. It doesn't seem to go with everything else. Yeah, I don't think there's much hope for Lanterns being a huge hit. First of all, it's on a streaming platform that by the time it comes out might be in a real pickle, because now they're trying to figure out what they're going to do with these different streaming platforms and how they're going to join them and everything. But there's just not as many people there to watch it because it is a streaming exclusive. But I don't think Lanterns is going to be a big hit. I think it's going to be a big lightning rod, because it looks like right now the bad guys in the film are a white nationalist group. They're a white nationalist group that's going to be the bad guys in that, and I think that's going to be there's going to be a lot of anger pointed towards them for for what's going on there. But I don't know. We'll see. Apparently, yes, Gunn's contract is reportedly going to end in spring of 2027. There has been no month or date that's been mentioned, only spring 2027. Technically, spring can run through June. It just depends on how they decide to define that. But that's interesting because that's not summer of 20, like, and I believe the next film, the next Man of Tomorrow, is supposed to be a July release. So
we've seen situations like this where they say like, hey, your contract is up except for stuff that you're still working on. Notice that Kathleen Kennedy is out, but still when they talk about that movie with Ryan Gosling, she's still like on board.
She's still around.
She'll show up on the red carpet. She'll still say like, I worked so hard on this movie. And we'll probably see all of that. Sorry, I know that wasn't the best Kathleen Kennedy impression, but I did my best.
It's accurate enough. It's fine.
Accurate enough. So we'll see. I made her sound like the Wicked Witch of the West, but yeah, that's it's kind of on brand in a way, in my opinion. Of course, allegedly, and here on Price of Reason Studios, we don't take any responsibility for anything, but you know what I'm saying. So you got something like that. So yeah, James Gunn, they'll still let him do the red carpet. We love James Gunn. He's the best. He's going to greener pastures, whatever. And he shows the movie, and everybody's just like, whatever. Caleb Levine says, Price of Reason Live, where big words become, where big words, I guess, become big problems, or because I don't know. Tumultuous. I said it. I said tumultuous. In any case, we also had a few other super chats. We have the Deadman 79 with the for $4.99 super chat. Thank you so much today for all your super chats, the Deadman. I really appreciate it. Price, the jerk store called and they're running out of you. Fair enough. I accept that. Douglas Nutt with $2 says Brown Turns. Nobody ordered this flavor. Brown Turns is pretty good. I don't dislike that. It's pretty good, Douglas. So yeah, those are the super chats that we got here that we always appreciate. As I always say, we don't ask for super chats. We don't say, "Oh, you got to do it. You got to do it." But if you do it, we're really appreciative. Like it's sort of two things could be true on this at the same time. One, we won't badger you for them, we won't bother you, to do the super chats. But when we do get them, we're super appreciative. So
Very much. Yeah. So,
it's two
yeah, go
things
ahead.
can be true. Yeah.
Yeah. So, what other stuff does Gunn have in the chamber? Ready to go at DC, because we know we're getting our I don't horror film with Clayface, body horror, whatever. We're getting the Lantern show. We're getting Man of Tomorrow. There is supposedly a second season of Creature Commandos that's in production. Hooray.
Y
Uh,
you know, I wanna just say something. Most of the time we've seen it with, like, Velma, we've seen it with He-Man. Most of the time when you do an animated show, it's already, like, f in advance, everybody knows it's gonna be 2 seasons. The reason for it is once you put the crew for the animation and all that stuff in there,
exactly. Yeah.
it's almost not worth it not to do 2 seasons.
Yeah.
Almost always. You'll always already know that there's a 2nd season, you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. It's like ordering a certain number of things to where the shipping makes sense, right? It's like if I order enough, it makes sense to pay for all that. If I'm gonna, the shipping is only gonna be this much. Where if I only order this one thing, the shipping is gonna be way more, as a percentage of it, right? When you're ordering an animated series, and honestly, a lot of series, when you're ordering that, it financially it does make a little more sense to say, yeah, we're gonna order 2 seasons up front, this many episodes, that's how much, get the people together, contract with the studio to produce it, whatever. Yeah, it makes more sense to do that. Doesn't mean that second season actually gets finished, but we'll, because it looks like that's probably not due until the end of the year next year. So
By the way, speaking of next year, if people haven't already subscribed, you should definitely do that right now because a lot of times people see this stream, they see me post on another channel or another social media app, and then they arrive at one of these streams. So just so you know, you may not be subscribed to this, and you should look right now to see that the stream that you're on, that you're already subscribed to the channel, because that always is good. That way, you always are, on top of your game. You know when there's a new stream and stuff. And also, if you're on Rumble, and let's say you're watching through the app, but you haven't yet signed up for the app, signing up is free. You could do the premium thing, which is better, but you could do the thing for free, and then that's also very good. And you could then follow us and watch our streams. And yeah, I mean, I think that that is a good idea for whoever wants to pursue it. Objectively, I think that's a good idea. Rumble is our headquarters. We love free speech, and we love what they do on that platform. So yeah, you should do that. Where were we, Professor? Oh, the six says the last day of spring in 2027 is June 20th.
yeah. Again, I don't think that the studios are actually looking to say that June 20th is the end of that date. I think they're just giving a rough estimation of when, like, the contract is finished. And there's always that possibility, if things are moving forward and everything's being produced with Man of Tomorrow, they give them 6 months or they give them 3 months or something like that, just under the table, just to be like, all right, we'll stretch this out until we see what happens with Man of Tomorrow. But
Or they even tell them, listen, you think Man of Tomorrow is going to be the best thing ever? We won't announce that you're leaving. We'll say that you're still sticking around for a bit. We've they'll do some kind of vague announcement that still, like, suggests that maybe he's sticking around for long or whatever it is, and they just focus on the movie being released. If that movie comes out, and maybe they tell him, if it comes out and does $1 billion, you stay. If it does like $5, you're out. And if the movie comes out and they're not happy with what they see, then that'll be it. I think we also are hearing a lot of this other stuff, and this is a lot of rumors. I can believe it, but I don't really know. Apparently, he wanted Wonder Woman to already be introduced in Man of Tomorrow, And the thing with him is, I think that he's frantic to introduce as many things as possible. He wants to introduce Wonder Woman. He wants to introduce Batman because he wants to, try to, I don't know if to say mark his territory or whatever you want to call it. He wants to show, like, look, I have all these characters. They're all here. I'm ready to do my universe. But first of all, those are characters that he needed to do more quickly. Maybe he could have, maybe he couldn't have for whatever reasons. But trying to like roll out at this point, Batman and Wonder Woman may not, be a win. I guess this Adria or Jonah or whatever her name is that he wants her to be Wonder Woman. They made her character. It's like in the script, it appears in a way that it could be Wonder Woman or another character. If he doesn't get to use the Wonder Woman character, he's going to call her. What is it that he was going to call her? Like Maxima? I don't even know. I wasn't paying attention.
Oh, um,
There was some other name. I don't remember now. There's some other character that she could be or not be. I don't feel like googling it, but you know what I mean. I feel like I'm stupid. Is it Maxima? What is it? What is the character called that he wants?
I'm trying to remember. It might be Maxima. Yeah. Yeah, it's like a space warrior
Some shit.
princess
Yeah, sorry, Sean. It's
character.
some shit. In
Yeah.
any case, eh, I I don't know. I'm gonna be a bit of a douche here, Professor. I don't hate Adria Arjona. I don't think like, I don't know. I don't hate her, but I don't like her as much as some other people do. I didn't love her in Andor. Uh I think she's all right. I don't actively dislike her, but when I look at her, I don't really think Wonder Woman. Yeah, a lot has been said about like, the acting skills of Gal Gadot or whatever you want, and maybe there's a lot of roles. If you were doing like Hamlet now, maybe she shouldn't be in that production or whatever it is. But if you're if you're doing Wonder Woman, I thought she was pretty good in the role. I liked her there. I don't care. You can say whatever you want about me. I thought that for that role, I thought that she was good casting.
Yeah. Yeah.
I had no issue with her, and I don't necessarily think that when I look at Adria Arjona that it looks like a better option than her to me.
No. No. And that is, that's one of the other project. Yes, Wonder Woman is something that Gunn has been trying to get off the ground. Supposedly, the last news I think that we heard about it was essentially that it's not been written yet. It's not ready to go. So it's too early for them to announce dates and whatever for that. This isn't this isn't Lucasfilm. They're not going to announce 6 new movies this year that will never come out, like Lucasfilm did. But yeah,
Phantom
yeah,
Monk said she looked the part. I think that's fair.
she did look the part. Yeah,
She looked the part, and the thing is this, I think that it was Drinker that recently he was saying that even if she kind of just acted like herself for that role, that whatever even if she's, acting like herself for that role, her being sort of feminine, she was athletic, she was feminine, uh, she didn't look bad, all that stuff worked. That's not to say that every actor should be offered every role. I think that since that Snow White thing, I don't think that was a good choice for her, and I think that it really didn't do her career good. It wasn't good for her career to do that Snow White movie. But that doesn't mean that I don't like her as Wonder Woman. I thought she was good in that role. That's me personally. But what?
uh,
What?
Mark Diaz says Big Barda. Yeah,
Big Barda?
Big Barda is another character. She's one of the new gods. She's a Jack Kirby creator. And her she has an absolutely ridiculous outfit with this big ornate ridiculous headpiece, and her weapon is a mega rod, if I remember correctly. So she runs around with this rod in her hands. It's not suggestive at all.
The girl that was in John Carter should have been Wonder Woman, but it's too old now. I don't even remember who that was. It's all a blank for me. I don't remember who was in John Carter. I barely remember even that there was a John Carter movie. I know there was one. I think it was a major flop. Apparently, and this is just rumors behind the scene, Matt Reeves was kind of pushing back and saying, "I don't want him to have a Batman there." Now, there's another rumor that he wanted to cast the actor Tom Brittney as Batman. I can't believe I'm going to say this because I actually know who that actor is. I don't hate that actor. I think he's a decent actor, that Tom Brittney guy. I've seen him in something before. There was a show that the BBC, I think, had, or one of those had in England, where I have some family members that enjoy that show. It's about like a priest in the 50s or something that like solves mysteries. It's not Father Brown, it's a different one, but there's like some vicar that like solves mysteries with some police chief or whatever it is. I've seen some episodes with that Tom Brittney guy in that role. Thought he was pretty good. I remember thinking to myself, I don't dislike the guy. I think he's fine. He's British. I don't know how he does an American accent, if he can or he can't. He's fine on whatever that murder mystery thing was. Probably, there's worse actors out there than him. Than him. I don't know if he can do a good accent or not. There's a show now called The Westies or something that's about to come out with J.K. Simmons, and I think he's also starring in that with like J.K. Simmons, considered like a pretty decent young up and coming actor, whatever you want to call it. Already not so up and coming. I mean, he's already like he's the right age. It's fine. With all that being said, I think the rumor is that Matt Reeves is like, "What do you mean you want to put Batman in your movie? Screw that! You're not putting Batman in your movie. I'm making a Batman. You're like, my Batman is supposed to be released. You're going to suddenly make a movie with Batman in it. So I don't know what's going to happen with that. And I tend to think that like David Ellison, unless David Ellison manages to surprise me, and at the end he'll be like, complete like dum dum. I don't know that he goes in here and sees all these flops and everything that Gunn is doing, and is so excited. In spite of us seeing that article, that right before Supergirl came out, strategically, Peter Safran came out, the co-CEO of DC Studios, and he said, David Ellison loves James Gunn. He's a fan of James Gunn. I don't know. That's strange. First of all, David Ellison himself didn't say it. Are you with me, Professor?
Yeah.
He didn't say it. David Ellison didn't come out and say, "I want to make a statement now. James Gunn, I'm a big fan of his." He didn't say that. Even David Zaslav, when he pretended to like what was going on there because he wanted his company to sell for a lot of money, he's like, really love James Gunn's vision. Until now, David Ellison, I've not heard him say that. So the idea that he's a fan seems like some spin coming from Safran and James Gunn. The other thing is, obviously, before a movie comes out like Supergirl, if you're David Ellison, it's not in your best interest to say, "No, I hate them. I didn't say I was a fan. Fuck James Gunn." He's not going to say that. You know what I mean? He just didn't say anything. Safran came out, obviously it was Safran and not James Gunn that says it, because, Safran is the guy that has to be the witness to the great praise that James Gunn is getting. So he's like, David Ellison, he loves James Gunn. And like there was radio silence. David Ellison didn't say I love him, didn't say I didn't love him, and said nothing. He walks in there, and I don't know. I don't know that he sees everything that like Gunn is cooking and is so excited about it. I tend to think that in one way, shape, or form, Man of Tomorrow is going to be where it ends for James Gunn, unless a miracle happens. Miracle, like I said, Clayface makes $1 billion, and James Gunn manages to navigate it in his favor. Lanterns become the new Game of Thrones season 1 of the real series, and Man of Tomorrow is like the Avengers 2011. If those things happen, that could be a turning point for James Gunn as DC boss. But the likelihood of that happening doesn't feel likely.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I'm interested to see if this is actually, we mentioned Maxima, if it's actually going to be Maxima that is in this film, or if it is just a way for him to hide her as like a, secret casting for her being Wonder Woman or something. Interestingly, if you know anything, the character, when they were saying it was this character Maxima, I actually did look it up and did some reading, because I was like, I don't even really remember this character. So, sort of her hook in the original comics was, she's a space princess, space warrior princess, and she needs to reproduce. She needs to produce heirs to the throne. And so she's after Superman for his seed. Put it that way. that's kind of the gag of her showing up. She's she wants Superman's. She wants him to copulate and produce offspring with her. But then they rebooted the character for the New 52 many years later, and instead now she's a lesbian. Imagine that. They rebooted a character and made her a lesbian. And interestingly enough, when during that time she was associated with Supergirl. So I wonder if
Wow.
they're going to do something with that. And
Well,
Super, she's going to be fixed by becoming a lesbian.
Red Pilled Rance says they also have to get rid of James Gunn's buddy Tom King. He's a huge propaganda pusher in this GA. Listen, I don't care who he's pushing for what. All I know is that Tom King, I did something that I rarely do. Prior to Supergirl, I sat down and read his comic because it was a limited run. And I read the entire series of that Woman of Tomorrow thing, and then I went to see the movie. And first of all, the movie is I didn't like the comic. I think that Tom King, I don't like his style. I didn't like the comic. I didn't like anything about it. But the movie did even the comic less good than the comic. Do you get what I mean? Like
Yeah,
the comic.
as crummy as the comic, and uh, uh, Mark was nice enough to share it with me, share a link to somewhere that I could find it and read the comic. So I did, and well, of course, well after I saw the movie, yeah, it's a crummy comic. It is not good at all, but it's still better than the movie, which is even worse.
I'll tell you why, because even, and I said this in my review, even Tom King at the end realizes that Supergirl shouldn't be, killing off that character herself, and he had at least the minimum decency to understand that wouldn't be in character. And I don't know if you saw either just the writer, this quote unquote screenwriter that wrote this, adapted the comic, this Anna Nagero, whatever her name is. Either she's playing dumb or is dumb or both. But in any case, there was a situation where they interviewed her and she said something like, well, in the original comic, the little girl Ruthie, she kills Krem, and I didn't want that to happen, so I changed it for the movie. But that's not what happens in the comic. That is actually not what happens in the comic.
No,
She
it's
said
not.
she said something that's false. So either one, she didn't read the comic, or she's just being annoying and she's stupid, or both. And the other thing is, people are like, I had a few people telling me, and people even that I like, well, James Gunn didn't write and direct this one. Okay, James Gunn, he famously was saying that he's the boss. No movie would be made until he thought a script was good. You could tell that this movie is very much a James Gunn production. Uh, I think that James Gunn 100% here acted like a Kevin Feige, especially in the later era where he's like telling everybody what to do and he has like yes men around him. This was actually later stage Feige, and I think that this movie is very much, a James Gunn production. We've said it from the first day. I watched it, and I think that as well. Uh, Unless he found like a bunch of like people with poor credentials that love James Gunn and want to make a movie that's an homage to him and tries to copy all of his ideas and do like a James Gunn movie, I think it's just a James Gunn movie, if you know what I'm trying to say.
Yep.
And a poor one at that. That he's reached the
Yeah,
point.
not a good one either. Yeah.
He's reached a point in the career is in his career that he doesn't even have that spark of whatever the earlier James Gunn thing was. A lot of people mention this. The first Guardians of the Galaxy movie, which is probably the best, I believe there was some lady that wrote that screenplay that had, it wasn't one of quote unquote his people. I don't know what exactly happened there, but I think that there's a person that often gets overlooked in the mix there when it comes to that first Guardians of the Galaxy movie, and that's still the best one for me. And even then, again, it's the best one because you introduced something that was like interesting. I've said it a number of times here, and I'll say it again. Uh, I have a moment, and it's almost like the Sixth Sense, where I look at it differently now. A number of years ago, I said, to my friend Nick, who you know, Nick,
Yep.
the guy that's he's a minister, but also he loves science fiction. He's on TV show Revisited with us. So basically, I told Nick that I liked the first Guardians of the Galaxy movie, and at the time, James Gunn was so far from DC at the time. This may have been like 7 years ago. You know what I mean? There was no thinking of James Gunn as Superman, whatever it is. Nobody was thinking about any of that. I said I like that first Guardians of the Galaxy movie, and Nick said to me I hated it. And usually Nick is a very kind of soft, he's not like he's not aggressive. You know what I mean? But he hated that movie. He sounded like he was very serious. He really hated that movie with a passion. And I'm so surprised. Why do you hate that movie? And then he told me something that like it kind of, at that moment I didn't understand it, but years later I would understand what he meant. He said most of the people didn't read Guardians of the Galaxy, so when James Gunn took it over and made them completely different than what they are in the source material, these kind of losers and quirky and cynical and strange shitty thing, nobody paid attention to it because nobody, most of the people weren't even familiar with the source material. He took something more obscure that didn't really have that kind of like hardcore rabid fan base, and he changed it and made it his own quirky James Gunn thing. And it happened, along with the screenplay that I think James Gunn didn't write and all the other things. Somehow it was a fresh, interesting take,
Yeah.
and a lot of people liked it, even though it was not faithful to the source material at all. But he kept saying, I don't like seeing losers of the galaxy. And he would tell me that on many occasions. I don't like losers. I would say Guardians of the Galaxy. He would call it losers of the galaxy. I'm like, well, you're not really a loser. Losers of the galaxy. Star-Lord is a loser. It's the losers of the galaxy. And years go by, and I saw that Superman movie, and then I became Nick. Do you get what I'm saying? I
Yeah.
walked out and I said, I don't like this. This is not Superman. They made him a loser. Like, if anybody ever liked Superman, this is not that. He changed him into something else. And suddenly, when I was saying it to somebody, that was like, you know, what is it? It's like the movie, the song, "The Cat's in the Cradle." You know what I mean? First, you know, first the father is busy, but then the son becomes busy
The
like the
sun is
father.
too busy.
So I'm trying to find a good way to explain the process that I went through, but I became the person that like I transformed into the other person. Do you get what I mean? And
Yep.
at that moment, I said, I get it now. I didn't understand it 7 years ago when Nick would tell me this, and even throughout the years, every time it was mentioned, he would say it. I'm like, I never understand what this guy what does he want? And I really like Nick. He's a friend of mine. I'm like, I don't get it. And then I'm like, I get it. I understand it now. If somebody that actually cared about Guardians of the Galaxy, something that I haven't even read one comic of in my life, if somebody actually cared about them and read those comics and went and they got the Superman treatment, and it's not the Guardians of the Galaxy, I can understand why somebody would be annoyed. Do you get what I'm saying?
Oh yes. Yeah.
And
Totally.
he could get away with it with obscure, weird shit. He can't get away with it with Superman. He can't get away with it with Supergirl. He can't get away with it with Wonder Woman or Batman. And honestly, it's become now like a meme. I don't know if you saw in the past few days that they are taking serious scenes of movies and they're like, if James Gunn directed this, and then they put like the most annoying song in the background because he likes to put like this kind of weird music, like this kind of hipster music that doesn't belong in the scene. Do
Oh
you get what I'm
yes.
saying?
Yeah. 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 Of
Have you
course.
have you seen those memes that somebody's
I've
like,
seen a couple of them. Yeah.
like, but the only thing, somebody shared one with me today. I don't know if Disparu or something maybe that he posted or somebody else, and I think that Gary himself posted one. But I was telling whoever shared it with me, I'm trying to think now. Maybe could it have been Vex Electronica in some group? I said like I feel like if James Gunn directed one of those like classic movies, it wouldn't even be the song that they chose because they chose one that was like annoying. But I said like he'd probably put in like Love Shack by the B-52s. Like he'd find something even more irritating at that moment. Like more irritating and out of place than even the memes chose. Do you get what I'm trying to say?
I
Are
was
you there?
sorry. Yes. Yes. I was watching one of the videos.
Right. So then now there's a lot of them. But I'm saying that they would probably have like the B-52's Love Shack or something. Like I think that the memes are not leaning in hard enough into the annoying song that he would choose. But yeah, it always has to be like some hipstery song that didn't belong there, some like pop culture retro, whatever it is. He got away with it with a mixtape in that Guardians movie. You can get away with something once, but when you do it all the time, it just becomes so annoying. And yeah, those videos are hilarious. I mean, they're funny, but I still think that he would choose like something else. Six says, I love the Guardians of the Galaxy movies. I have zero interest in reading the comics. I'm the same way, Six. I had the same process, and it's the same thing I kept telling Nick. I'm like, I didn't read them. I don't care. I thought it was great. And he's like, well, if you did read them and you actually cared even a little bit about them, you wouldn't be saying what you're saying now. And I completely dismissed him. Like anything he said went like into one ear and went out the other. Like I completely deflected it. I was like Superman when you deflect stuff. Like I was deflecting everything, saying all this stuff, and he was very passionate about it. I'm like, nope, I don't give a shit. And sorry, Sean. And now I understand what he meant. It doesn't mean that I'm going to read Guardians of the Galaxy now. I don't really care one way or another. I still kind of was okay with that first movie. The second one kind of, I was okay with his trilogy of movies. I think the first one was the best out of the three. The other two, like, were fine. But at the same time, I can appreciate when somebody says that he's not honoring the source material. I understand that what that means now, if that makes sense.
Yeah. We got a gift from Nerd Wars. Hey, Erwin, thank you. Nerd Wars gift for 5 Price of Reason Live memberships.
Well, let me highlight.
Thank you. Yeah.
Nerd Wars is a friend of mine.
Yes.
I'm likely going to be on Thursday on his show. I had such a crazy Thursday this Thursday, and I really my intention was to arrive at home in time and to do his show, and then I had the other stream to go to, but I didn't get there in time, and I just unfortunately I couldn't pull it off. But I'm gonna do everything I can possibly do to be there this Thursday.
Yep. Here's I won't play the music for too long, but here's some of these videos while you're getting that pulled up, Bryce.
Just take some time.
Yeah, it's funny.
Everything will be just fine.
It's so bad.
It's exactly what he would do, though.
Exactly,
That's exactly his weird shit.
Yeah.
That's exactly what he does.
I think this might be the first one that I saw someone did.
It just takes some time.
The same terrible song.
Oh wait, I didn't mean to do the thing. Sorry. I
No.
didn't do your thing. Sorry, you do it.
No. I was just playing that. It's the same song, but over the warehouse
Yeah,
fight.
but that's what I'm saying is that I was telling people that it's funny, but I would choose like Love Shack by B-52 because or like Whip It by Devo. You know what I mean? It would have to be something super annoying, like Whip It Good, like something like
song.
that you're just like, oh, stop it already. You know what I mean? Like that, it would have to annoy me even more.
Same song. Yep. Everyone's doing the same song.
I've
seen at least one other one with a different song, but yeah, everyone's doing the same song in there.
Hold on one second. Okay, so Nerd Wars sent 5 Price of Reason Live gift memberships, and we're very grateful for that. Thank you very much. Very, very kind of you. And yeah, Erwin is great, and I enjoy hanging out with him and Badger on Thursdays. He is a quirky guy, but I guess I get along with quirky people. Is it strange that he has a bat and Baby Yoda that during the stream he beats up Baby Yoda with a bat? Is that kind of strange? It is a bit strange, and yet somehow that's what happens on his stream. And
I have no problem with this.
So definitely a strange guy, but again, interesting character for sure. And I like hanging out with him and with Badger on his stream. So I think Thursday, unless something unexpected happens, I should be able to be on his stream there. And thank you, of course, for the 5 gifted memberships. So thank you, Erwin. Erwin probably ran away. I feel like he put it there and he's gone. But I still appreciate it. It's still a nice gift. In any case, let's what else we were talking about? There was this whole Angry Joe thing.
Oh jeez. More with Angry Joe, huh?
Yeah. So I don't know if you notice, like I saw a lot of stuff that he keeps on like trying to tag, like Az and Gary and like Disparu and the drinker and all this stuff. Like I don't know what he wants. I don't know if he's trying to just get attention that like all these people get that he feels like he's not getting, or my thought was, and I've said this before. Uh, Even Grace Randolph, who gave like a review that we would agree with a lot of what she says, both her and Angry Joe, I still think at the end of the day, want to distance themselves from people, I say like us, even though I'm not Gary or the drinker who have much bigger followings, but I'm saying like people like us, I think they're trying to distance themselves from. And the what they do is what they've been holding on to is we love the Tom King comic, and we were so excited that this was going to have an adaptation of the Tom King comic. Unfortunately, James Gunn didn't do a true adaptation of the comic. If he had, the movie would have been great, but because he didn't, the movie is bad. Maybe Grace Randolph added a little bit something with the agenda and the feminism, which was her going out on a limb here a little more than she usually does. I think Angry Joe didn't touch upon that, but I think that their idea is we liked we like the Tom King comic. It's too bad they didn't adapt that. And the reason they're doing that is so, in my opinion, that they can distance themselves from us. Do you get what I'm saying?
Of
Like
course, yeah. They
we
they and not fully admit that this film is a complete failure, right? This just to say, well, oh well, if it had been more faithful to the comic, yeah, it would have been better.
I'll tell you. I'll tell you a story, and I'll tell you what I think. And I don't know why I thought of this thing that happened to me many years ago. This is a few decades ago. I had a friend, but he was a complicated guy, and I bought these Oakley sunglasses, and I wore them, and he saw me wear them. It's a very long story. He saw me, and he's like, "Oh, those glasses, you kind of look like a fly when you wear them. Doesn't look good. It doesn't look this. Doesn't look that." A week later, I run into him. He's wearing, I think the same glasses. And I said, didn't you say that these glasses you had an issue with them? So he said, yeah. He said, well, to be honest with you, they don't look good on you, but they sure look good on me. Are you with me, Professor?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So I feel like that's what the Angry Joe and and Grace Randolph are. They don't want to say that they're like us. It's not like they like what we're whatever. That I don't know why that reminds me of that, even though that's a weird comparison. But do you get what I'm trying to say? Like the bottom line is that he and I both like the glasses, but he needed a different narrative about that. If you understand what I mean.
Yes.
So there's that. And regarding like, James Gunn, I want to say another thing. Where people are talking about things, sometimes when you're a smart executive, and I can't say what David Ellison is going to do. There's a lot of ways that this can unfold, and I think we don't completely know. He has to arrive. He has to decide maybe he lets this contract run out. Looks like a benevolent guy. Let James Gunn fail and move on. It's from a business level, it's not a bad idea. I once worked at a company, and we worked in a department, and there was a new boss. Okay, the new boss walked in, and my instinct told me that this new boss, one of the people that worked there, he didn't like that person. Okay, now instinctively, I thought to myself, if a new guy that's running the department came in, and there's a person there that he doesn't seem to like, that person is probably going to get fired, right?
Probably, yeah.
But what I'll tell you is this: he didn't immediately fire that person, and it was an educational thing that I noticed how like an executive works. He didn't come in and just guns blazing or swinging whatever, swinging dicks and fire everybody. He didn't. I could tell that he didn't like this person. Didn't say anything. He was nice. He did all this stuff. This person from time to time would make mistakes. And I think he was just waiting for the right mistake and the right failure and the right problem. And then at that point, he said, well, unfortunately, you know what I mean? Like he didn't do it immediately. He waited for the right moment in which he could say, look, unfortunately, we have to part ways. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yes. Yeah.
And I think that a good like executive does that. It was something interesting that I saw because I'm not stupid, and I could tell that that person was probably not the right fit to work with the guy, but he was also smart and didn't do it. That other person may have stayed there another half a year, maybe another. It wasn't like the day he arrived, he fired that person. But I knew it was a matter of time. My instinct told me somehow this is going to play out. And I was a pretty young guy, and I said, like, this is gonna somehow work out that way, and it absolutely worked out that way. But I still will say that he waited for the failure. And David Elson can walk in and said, "You're so great, James. You're so wonderful. I am a big fan. You're the best thing that ever happened since apple pie." And then you failure, another failure. James, what can I do? You're a jolly good fellow, but you look, losing money. See you later, bro. And then, like I say, they make a nice statement. He's such a great, for he's a jolly good fellow, and now he can go fuck off or whatever it is, and then that's it. He's out. I saw that.
Did you see this? Yeah.
I did see
This
it.
was, yeah. And this is supposed to be at the Burbank 14, which is one of the most popular theaters, most visited theaters in the country. They were tearing down the Supergirl promotional standee. Nobody there saying, "Ooh, let me keep it." None of that stuff. No, they literally broke it into pieces and threw it away in the trash. And it's not as though they needed to replace it with something else, right? Like, sometimes they take this stuff down because, oh well, we've got another big film that we've got to put promotional material up for this next weekend. No, they didn't put anything else in its place. They just tore it down, threw it away. I mean, if that's not an admission, right? This was a massive flop. I don't know what is. I mean, it's over. They've given up. I think they should, honestly, to put any more time or effort into this. I mean, this got beat the weekend. It was beaten by Toy Story in its second weekend.
Yeah. And in these upcoming weeks, there's a lot of different releases. It's
There's
not going to
a
recover.
bunch of other stuff coming out in the coming weeks that's going to be major competition for Supergirl. Obviously, there's Minions and Monsters is coming out later this week. Actually, I think it launches tomorrow, or I guess technically today, since it is now July 1st. But that comes out. There's other stuff coming, and it's just astounding that Supergirl, the earnings for this, right? Did you actually go look at the earnings for it for the weekend?
I looked at it a few days, but I think it didn't it come out like 37 million instead of even 38 or 39?
Miserable, right? Okay, come on. You know how the numbers is sometimes that.
Yeah, they still have a server from like 1953.
Still running off Windows 95 for their server. Yeah, here we go. Nope. Tried to change Windows and it just closed it. Hold on. All right, so there's the tracking for this right now. Supergirl right now, and this is of course after today's numbers added in, 40 million domestic, 27.7 international, for a total of 67. That is absolutely awful. It's worse than the Marvels. If that's possible, worse than the Marvels. In previews, it only made around, I think they said that previews were only 8 million.
I sat there and I was in a theater with a handful of people. It was a full theater, like that. It was a big theater, but I said maybe like 7 people with me.
There's previews right there, 7.8, which is, they were saying 12. Initially, they were estimating 12, I think, for the previews. 7.8 for previews.
By the way,
opening weekend domestic, 37 million. Unbelievably bad.
I did something very naughty now, and I sent a bunch of DMs to people.
Oh,
none of them are looking at their DMs.
Naughty DMs.
Naughty DMs. So just so people that are listening know, Mega Geek, Mark D with a C, Estephobos, and 6. I sent you all DMs, and you're welcome to look at them. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
Thought it would be interesting to do like a, strange.
Yeah, for the
late
last
night
little bit
gathering,
here.
but
Yeah, why not?
of course,
Yeah,
I know that people are busy and sleeping and all that stuff. I'm not expecting much of anything. It's
yeah.
almost like
This
a
was
roulette thing. I put all these like chips on the roulette table and let's see what happens.
just see who shows up. But yes, wow, unbelievably. And again, some of the predictions were pretty low, and they managed to go even lower than some of the predictions. I think the industry, the studio was saying 47 for opening weekend, and they came in 10 million below that domestically. I mean, wow. Not going to say that it's the worst of the film's opening weekends. Here, actually, we can in some recent DC films. There's numbers has some nice little graphics here. So there's a comparable. Here we have Black Adam, The Flash, Blue Beetle, Aquaman, and the Lost Kingdom. But you can see, opening weekend for Supergirl, if that was 37, and if you want to compare these other opening weekends, well, 30, like
I think
Flash and Black
Morbius,
Adam
it didn't Morbius
easily
do
came
the
in above it. Did Morbius come in above it? Quite possibly, yeah.
I think so. I think it did.
Preview comparisons, yeah. 7.8. Mandalorian and Grogu did 12.
Disney are
Avatar did
probably
12.
like feeling really great about the Mandalorian and Grogu
Thunderbolts
right now.
did 11.5. And Captain America Brave New World did 12. And that movie's one of the worst things I've seen in a dog's age.
I mean,
So,
this
yeah,
is really, really
I
a
mean-
disaster. This is like, and you know how it is that we don't even know how much money they spent on it. They're like, well, we spent 150. No, it was 170. No, it was 180. No, it was 190. It's probably going to be 200 and something million. They never tell the truth about it. This movie needed to make a whole lot more money. And I believe we have Ian, the Mega Geek, is here.
Hello. Oh, well. Can you hear me?
I can, yes.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm eating breakfast.
No, good. That's what we do here on the Night Owl.
Oh,
Like suits the
who else is
atmosphere.
there? Somebody
Yeah,
else is there as well.
so Mega Geek is here and he's joining us. Did you know? I'm so arty. I think we talked about it. You saw Supergirl, right?
I did, yeah. What's interesting is what people are saying around Supergirl now. Like, for instance, when we had that conversation with Vex and how people judge things being woke now. It's interesting how they're thinking, aren't they? Because according to Vex, if it's not mentioned, it's not woke, which is kind of rubbish, really. Let's face it. It doesn't have to be mentioned for the film to be woke. All you have to do is see what's going on, which is they're still bashing Superman and Supergirl. That's what they were doing. They were going, Supergirl's better because she has a better parents. Superman's parents are dumb because they told him to go to Earth and conquer. And Supergirl is so much better. That's what they were literally saying in the film. You don't have to literally say it, with dialogue, but you can spot what's going on. Sometimes it's subtle, sometimes it isn't. But I see it all now, and I can't help not seeing it all. So there you go. Oh, somebody opened a bottle of champagne or something. What was that?
It sounded like it. It says just very excited to see you.
How is he?
By the way, I don't know what you were saying, Six, but you are invited. So I didn't understand the comment, but it was a genuine invite, and you are of course welcome. Also sent one to Mark D with a C. Always welcome as well, and we'll see. I don't know what happened. Sometimes people are also in the middle of work or busy or doing something, so I don't take it for granted. I don't think that I don't know that people are available or not, but I'm happy that we have you guys here. How's it going, Ista?
It's going pretty good. This whole,
Wow,
can you hear me?
Yes, loud.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Here, no, I fixed it. I
Okay.
already there's the usual drill where Ista starts talking and I have to lower the volume. I don't know why your volume is always like the highest. You know.
Because it's always too low on Brown and I have it cranked. So it's loud enough there. I try not to change it in between there. Anyway, this movie started out as a regular, just a flop. And then this morning I come up and it's just like misogyny everywhere. And I'm like, oh, the bots are out, the PR campaign has begun. Let's blame the men, even though the men overwhelmingly showed up for this movie where the women didn't.
They did, yeah, you're right.
I'm just tired of this same old narrative where, when you say, oh, misogyny, you're basically preemptively stopping any discussion on the merits of the movie. And just basically, it's not the movie's fault. It's your fault. The fans, you're the reason it failed. Has nothing to do, but it lends itself to not even discussing the aspects of the movie that may or may not be responsible for why it failed. And of course, the fact that they chose as the second movie as a pillar of the DCU to make it about a derivative character that wasn't ever really that popular.
What's interesting, which I found is, I remember I was having a discussion on, I think it was one of the Facebook pages, and somebody said to me, you're this or you're that, you're a phobe or whatever. And I said, okay, answer me one question. Why didn't Supergirl take Superdog to a planet with a yellow sun so he can be cured? I was waiting. There was dot, 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 dot. You know, when they type in dot, 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 then nothing. Dot, 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 then nothing. Nothing. You didn't answer me.
There's a diegetic answer for that, which is you can't move him or the poison will act faster, but he's got 3 days.
That's not, but that's nonsense.
They didn't say, they didn't say that, though. They didn't specifically say that.
They did say that.
Yeah, if you move him, the poison will only progress faster. But if you move him, you could still very gently move him from one place to another.
I mean,
and get him somewhere with a green sun. Yeah, they had to move him to the doctor. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, they already moved him, man.
What did the graphic novels say about that?
Oh, he was faking it. In the graphic novel, he wasn't really poisoned. Krypto was faking it to help motivate Supergirl to do the right thing.
Even worse.
And here's the thing. Novel, that comic was not very popular. The sales were low. It only got popular in trade paperback form. I don't know what that means, but
also what happened is that I think that once they announced that they were going to adapt that into a movie, it piqued some interest that a lot of people that may have ignored it altogether said, oh, it must be a good comic. Let's see what it is. And I think it got an additional kind of bump in sales just from that. And even with the bump, it's not like, it doesn't compare to like a Batman or Superman kind of sales. It's just like, I looked at the numbers. I remember researching this. It did probably, there's probably comics that have sold less than it, but it's not like a Batman, Superman type of numbers. Even with all the hype with the movie and all that stuff, it didn't reach those numbers. So, especially like you said, Ista, when it came out, it wasn't some smash success. I think that Tom King in general is not very well liked. It's funny, I was in that Comic-Con, and Tom King was there, and I didn't read that comic prior to Comic-Con when I was there a few years ago. And I only remember is people always told me how annoying he was, and I didn't have even a comic book that I could talk to him about it, because I don't even think I specifically, or I didn't realize that I'd read his comic. I didn't have anything to say to him, so I wanted an interview, but I had nothing to say to him, so I never interviewed him, which I regret not seeing. I regret not reading this comic, because then I would have had a cool interview with Tom King where I can tell him that I didn't like the comic.
It's a pretty reviled comic, I think, too, but a lot of
amongst Yeah, it's the normies that bought the trade paperbacks when it was available in bookstores and Amazon, but no comic fans liked it. And that's kind of telling in itself, isn't it? It did have popular sales, nothing like The Dark Knight Returns or anything, but it wasn't it wasn't amongst comic book fans because nobody who goes to a comic book shop bought it. These are your Barnes and Noble people and your Amazon consumers. So
Yeah, the trade paperback crowd.
Yeah,
Which is
yeah,
nothing,
yeah.
nothing wrong with that per se, but
Yeah.
it's,
Oh,
a different way of
and-
consuming comics.
And you know, I'm still confused, right? Because when Superman came out, they're saying Krypton is a colonial, aggressive society in general. But then the Green Lantern, Guy Gardner, says, if any part of that message is true, well, wouldn't you guys know? You're the freaking Green Lantern Corps. You've known about Krypton for centuries. But then this movie comes out. It's not Kryptonians. It's just Superman's parents. They're the only Imperial. Everyone else is really nice.
Yeah.
But he is an Imperial. Like, how does that make any sense? It's just, remember when Gunn said, I don't need to know, we don't want to show the Superman origin because everybody's seen that story 100 times. We already all know it. But then he changes it. He lies. Yep. He's lying. And he's not being straight with the fans.
But it's really showing that how much he doesn't like Superman, and how much that he's willing to destroy Superman. And as Price said, and that last stream that we're in, he's doing a semi woke thing. That's what he's doing. He's hiding it underneath all this stuff.
Yeah, covert woke.
Yeah, there are people that just watch the Superman film and think, oh, that was enjoyable. But unfortunately, someone like me, I can see all the undertones that he's doing, especially that scene where the guy pulls his legs apart and kicks him in the balls. Why would you have that if you're a fan of Superman? And, you know, Richard Donner didn't do that in the 78 version. Why do we feel the need to actually denigrate white males now? It's because of this stupid religion. There's no excuse for something like that. Gunn does not like Superman. He has the dog piss on his face in a newspaper. He has him kicked between the balls. Has him beaten up all the way through that film. It doesn't matter how enjoyable that film is. The undertone is Superman is a fucking dweeb. You know, he's not a punk rocker. He's not.
The definition he's a nerd. She calls him a nerd.
Yeah, mm-hmm. The definition of punk rock is that, you know, it's kind of like Supergirl, isn't it? Or Tank Girl. That's punk rock. But he's not.
But Gunn doesn't like any A-list. He's an iconoclast. He doesn't like any A-list characters. He takes these glup shittos, these C-list things that no one's ever heard of, and he likes to turn them into sort of lovable losers. But that's why he can't even straightforwardly introduce Diana as Wonder Woman. She's got to backdoor her in as Maxima. I know there's a lot of entendre there, but like, you know, it's Wonder Woman. He's talked about casting her as Wonder Woman, but he's trying to intro her as Maxima. Like, he can't deal with normal mainline characters. He can only do the weird, quirky guys, but he always does them the exact same way. This is the gunniest movie that ever James gunned, and we're talking about it like it was directed and written by somebody else. No, it wasn't.
Yeah,
it's like Star Trek into dumbness with you know, you wouldn't say it was Khan, you know, and everyone knew it was Khan. It's like, just admit it, you know.
And I think I guess maybe just we have to go back to where, you know, James Gunn got his start, right? He was a trauma guy, right? This is what you do in a trauma film. You have these weird off-kilter characters. You throw in lots of weird swearing and unnecessary violence and gore, and that's how you entertain your audience, right? I don't know that he's ever grown out of that, to be quite honest. I think that's the only way he knows how to make a movie, and it worked for, say, Guardians, right? We had these quirky, strange characters that, you know, kind of, you know, came together and, you know, end up, you know, saving the galaxy together. It wasn't a perfect film, but it was very enjoyable. The characters were fun, and, you know, it was still novel at that point. It was still new. It was still new. Yeah. And the second one is good too. The second one has some different themes in it. I think it doesn't work as well, but it's still enjoyable. I still think the second one is very good.
The reason why the other ones are not good is because the main character, right, becomes an idiot as the films go on. He just becomes stupider and stupider. If you see the first one, the man was right. Yeah, he had a few flaws, right? A lot of flaws, in fact, but he wasn't stupid. Do you know what I mean? He knew that if he was going to join the forces to attack at the ending, he knew the chance of him surviving was very, very little. He knew that, right? But yet, and he was brave. But then as the movies went on, he became like a dumbass.
Yeah,
Especially
absolutely.
when he met Iron Man, it was like, how dumb could this guy get? He wasn't dumb in the first one.
I know when he met Thor, he was embarrassing. It was so cringy.
Yeah.
I like this comment. Kurt Russell was into harems and Guardians of the Galaxy too. There's always some weird thing there, you know. There's always some weird themes. Listen, I don't care what his personal life was like, but it's obvious that there's something about these more noble heroes and heroic stuff that he's not really in tune with. It happened to work for Guardians of the Galaxy. I'm going to say something else. Initially, when I saw Guardians of the Galaxy, I wasn't, I maybe was a little familiar with Chris Pratt. But initially, I wasn't completely sold on him. Over the years, I actually think that Chris Pratt's kind of more comic vibe, comedic vibe, actually helped lift, especially that first movie, more than I gave him credit for. I think that he brought this kind of sense of like a bit of goofiness and whatever that kind of was a bit charming there. And like I said, I didn't appreciate it at the time, but over time I appreciated more, and I think he did bring something to the table. It was also a very likable cast. I'm not saying that they're good at doing everything, but every single person in the cast like played to its strengths. I thought that Zoe Saldana was great as Gamora. Even Dave Bautista, who I don't like him in every role, I thought he was good in his role as well.
Yes,
as Drax or whatever it is.
That Drax's role was perfect for him.
Perfect,
because it had almost no dialogue.
Almost no. And when he did need to give dialogue, it needed to be like as wooden as possible
it's
for it to be kind of funny.
And wooden, and
So that's why it worked.
A little too much Drax in the following movies, I thought. But
maybe, but in the first
always
one,
a harem. There's always animal torture.
I love the holiday special though. The holiday special is phenomenal.
I didn't mind it. I rather enjoyed the holiday special.
I thought it was good. Yeah.
I mean, at the end of the day, if I look at James Gunn's like repertoire or whatever it is, Guardians of the Galaxy 1, 2, 3, and Holiday Special, they're not all on the same level. Some stuff I like more than others, but I was able to watch them, and I didn't, look at it and say, oh, like he's a bum. Like I thought he has his own thing that he does. It's his shtick, and it worked for that specific thing. But I don't need to see a million more Guardians of the Galaxy. I think I got like a good dosage of it. And at the same time, I don't need everything else in the world to be Guardians of the Galaxy. Like he already tried to do that with the Suicide Squad.
But why does Hollywood want the main star to lose? Like poor Star-Lord, he didn't get anything after the 3 of those films. He didn't get the girl. He went home and he became stuck with his uncle. What does that say about how they feel about white heroes in films?
You have to understand, Ian, it's not really a grand conspiracy. It's a pipeline. All of these people are coming out of the same colleges, the same neo-Marxist philosophy. They're all going to college. They're all being programmed with critical race theory. They're all entering the workplace at the same time. It's more of a coincidence of attitudes than some kind of grand conspiracy. Do you remember during the lockdown, there was the interviews and they were asking everybody, why is Batman problematic? I can't remember I don't remember the, maybe it was G4 or something like that, where Alyssa Mercanti used to work. It's the fact that there's no diversity of thought in the industry. Everybody feels and thinks the same way, and they're all basically, fourth wave feminists who hate men in the workplace, that make the scripts, that greenlight the producing. It's just it's a huge convergence of this new attitude that everybody in the East Coast elite university system produces.
You know what I watched last night that really pissed me off? He-Man. I mean, they turned him into He-Wimp. I mean, I couldn't believe what they talk about what they did to Superman, or what they did to He-Man. It was such a passive, boring, horrible character. I was like, what the hell is going on? I mean, Teela's
Well,
in charge of this movie.
according to a lot of people, He-Man was a good film. I haven't seen it. I haven't seen it.
I
No,
wanted to throw,
I did
throw
not
stuff
think
in my
it was
TV
no,
last night.
it
I
has
didn't
the
like it
same.
at all. I didn't
Yeah,
like
it
it
has
at all.
the same stuff, Ian, that you're complaining about from Supergirl and Superman. Actually, somewhat worse and less covert, less hidden, less
They made
disguised.
Man at Arms a drunk, a bum. All the
Yeah.
father figures are morons, and then He-Man is a complete utter moron. I couldn't believe what they did to his character, and a wimp, a total wimp. I mean,
Yeah.
Why do people like it though?
I don't know. I don't know.
maybe
And
because
the
it's
thing is, there's
campy.
people that I genuinely like and respect, and they liked it, and I don't want to be mean to them. Like I respect when somebody is passionate and likes something, even if I don't like it, and especially because the people I know in the circles that we're in, I don't think they're coming from a malicious place. If I had to say why I think some people don't mind it, it depends how you approached this movie. If you approached it that you watched the cartoon as a kid, and you actually liked the fact that he was this kind of noble hero, and that mattered to you, then this movie is not for you. If you watched it as a kid and you think of it today as like almost like half a joke, and you don't mind that there's a movie that's sort of a self-parody, that it's mocking itself, and you don't mind that, some people don't mind it. He-Man over the years has generated a lot of memes and a lot of people like joking about it and things like that. And maybe some people can connect with the jokey self-parody thing. I was amongst the people that wanted something that a little more. It didn't have to be the most serious movie in the world, but something that at least gives a little respect to the main character and hero here. And I didn't feel I got that from the movie, and that's why I didn't like the He-Man movie.
Yeah,
It made
if
me
you
angry
took the
watching.
character, if you took the characters seriously, this movie was going to offend you. If you looked at it like a joke, then you would have laughed. But my thought is that people went in here really wanting to like He-Man, and the offensive aspects of the movie were at least hidden enough that you could be in denial about them. And I honestly feel like there was some serious mixed messaging in that movie, to the extent where you could ignore the parts that you didn't agree with. Like in the end, he does sort of kick ass, but he all the way up to that point, he is a wimp. He is cucked. He is humiliated. He is treated like shit
Right.
and joked about and ridiculed.
Yeah.
But in the end, man, he really kicks ass. So people that are sort of predisposed to love this character are able to ignore those things that were bugging the shit out. Same with Superman. Same with James Gunn's Superman. And in the end, he does win. But by the time we got to the end, I was already irritated so much at how they portrayed my hero as a loser. And I think that's the same with He-Man, too. People
think
liked
it was just
Superman.
over
They
the top.
genuinely liked it.
I
Yeah.
was angry watching the movie last night. I can't believe what they're doing to He-Man. And I'm not a huge He-Man fan, but it was just, they were mocking him. And it's not like it's, a Batman 66 version. It was just there was nothing redeeming about his character. It was just
No, nothing at all.
total moron. I'm like, what are you doing? Oh,
Yeah,
Yeah.
too much of this MCU humor, as people are saying in the chat. I didn't like the too
Yeah.
much of the MCU humor. Maybe one could argue that there have been movies that have like taken a dump on the characters more than He-Man did. But honestly, I don't think it really respected him. And for me, the part that he arrives and he sees Man at Arms who's like laying in a pool of his own piss and shit or
Vomit.
whatever it is.
Yeah.
That to me, I'm just like, come on,
Yeah, that one.
yeah.
Yeah.
That drove me insane.
Is that your dad?
That was he. Yeah, he's supposed to be this heroic character, and then one defeat, and he throws his entire life away, and becomes
Alcoholic.
drunk and a loser, while he
His
still has a
line
young
about
child.
His line about a real man doesn't abandon his family. He abandons his family. Ah!
He abandoned his
that's one of
family.
the
He
mixed
abandoned his
messaging,
duty.
yeah.
He abandoned his city, his planet.
But also, he's white. Why is he black?
I do like Idris Elba as an actor. If he wanted to be like comic book accurate, they're not animated show accurate, I guess that wouldn't have been the casting. I will still say that if this movie was a slam dunk, I like the actor, and if like the portrayal of the character was great, that wouldn't. I don't dwell on those things if you do them. If there's enough artistic merit there. For me, it wasn't Idris Elba. Actually, early on in the movie, you could tell he was very excited, and he actually like gets into the role in the early parts where he's not a bum. I think it's cool, but then once I see him as a bum, it really depressed me. It's like, Why are they doing this? Why are they making him such a loser? And it's like, I think that in reality, with the king and queen gone, Man at Arms would become this like big revolutionary leader. You know what I mean? He would lead this revolution, this underground or whatever it is. And I think that the way we've learned about this character, he would be like this hero that steps up and tries to at least like, you know, keep things in order or alive. Instead, it's his like daughter that's doing that, and he's just a fucking idiot. And she's like rolling her eyes as he like lays in piss and drinks and vomits and shit. I just couldn't get behind that. I didn't like it. And
why wasn't Tila black then too?
You know, this is another.
She was
thing.
adopted. She was adopted.
Okay. But here's the thing: in He-Man lore, there's this idea that she was adopted. But the thing is, in the movie, they never said anything.
They don't mention it in the movie. You're right.
And by the way, just so you know, that I said in my review. Mom. I said in my review that I'm going to say to myself she's adopted because she obviously doesn't look like she would be his daughter. And then somebody wrote like something bad about me in the comments of my review, saying that like I'm an istophobos, but I'm an istophobe for saying that. And it's like, no, I'm not an istophobe for saying that. I'm just saying the truth. She doesn't look like he would be his daughter. The problem is they're so PC with their weird crap. They figured if they say that she's adopted, even though in lore that would be true, somebody would have an issue with the fact that he's this and he's that. So I feel like maybe they filmed it and just deleted that sentence out of there, or just made a creative choice. She's going to be called his daughter. She doesn't look like his daughter, and we're never going to address it. And that's what happens in the movie, because we've reached a point where we're so PC that it's like several layers of PC that you can't even say what's happening on screen, if that makes any sense.
I hate race swapping, whether it be black or whether it be white race swapping. I hate it. It doesn't belong in any film whatsoever. You have to respect the actual content that you're actually building and respect the person that created it, respect the actual content itself. Listen, it's not right for Man at Arms to be black. It's all to do with this religion shit. It really is. I don't care what anyone says. You may give it a pass, but I'll never give it a pass. As a person of color, I'll never give it a pass at all. At all. Listen, if you can't have Shaft being white, then you can't have an up without a down. You can't have a tails without a heads. It's bollocks, right? This is what they're changing, and I'm not for it. Totally not for it at all.
Well, we need more people to be outspoken like that. I have a question for all you, because I don't really watch Angry Joe. I don't follow him. I've seen clips and they are incredibly cringy. But where does the guy get off saying, like, he agrees with us, this movie is crap, and then he's like, go and see it anyway, for your boy, for your man, like some cringy ass, like, go see it for me. Why is he asking his viewers to go see a shit movie? I don't track that.
What movie are you talking about? Supergirl?
This is Supergirl. Yeah, Angry Joe thinks about it, thinks it sucks too. He's on the same page as we all are. It must kill him to agree with this sort of sphere of YouTube. And so he's telling all of his people to go see it anyway, even though it's shit. And I don't really understand why.
He's confused. He's embarrassed that he was fighting for it for so long. Then when he realizes a lot of shit, he realized that he's been wrong all this time, and he's trying to basically come back from that by telling people to watch it. I don't know. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, but he still admits that it's awful. So why would you have? It would be like Price telling everybody in the chat to go watch what's something Price hates. I'm booming.
Quantum Leap reboot.
People say that I hate everything, so I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, but you don't betray the trust. Like, he's not doing it covertly either. He's like, this movie is absolute shit, but go help out your boy, as if he was getting a percentage of ticket sales or something. It's really weird.
It is strange.
It is a very strange thing, and he looks very. It's not a good look, not at all.
Yeah, did you see the private chat, Price?
Let me see for a second. Where you said that you had an update of the Legos?
Yes, it's not extensive, but there's some interesting developments.
All right.
For sure.
For those who don't know, there's a scandal with Lego now, Phobos is one of the top people, the top correspondents in the world.
The brick
Talk
bricks
about the
and,
Lego
stolen
scandal.
Legos.
So let's see.
Yeah.
What have you
Oh
got?
yeah, I've
with
been
the
following that
Lego
too. That's been
scandal?
interesting.
I feel like the Night Owl is the only show in the world that has a special segment where we hear about like a Lego scandal, and we
Yeah,
have an
my
actual
sister stole some
expert
of my
on it.
space Legos from 1977. Can you go after her too?
The Wall Street Journal is reporting on this now. It's broken out of the internet into the real world. This is
All right.
huge.
Okay.
So basically, the TRO, temporary restraining order, by nature is supposed to be temporary. It should have expired a week ago, and it's still going on. Now, both parties met, and both parties agreed to amend the TRO in such a way that would allow Ben to start making videos again. But the judge wouldn't sign it. So
Wow.
Lego Ben's lawyers filed for an order of removal, and they took it out of Utah State Court, and it's now in federal court. It's going to be leaving Utah. It's going to be leaving that judge who made some very dodgy, suspicious decisions, and it will now be in a neutral federal venue where they take First Amendment issues typically a lot more seriously. It shouldn't be that way, but it is. So now this entire case has gone federal. The lawsuit, the RICO charges, I'm not sure the criminal case has gone federal, but the case Bam versus Reckless Ben and Bam versus Brian Manziel, that is no longer in Utah State Court. It's in a federal court. And the reason they can do that is that all of the parties come from different state jurisdictions. So very brilliant legal strategy move on the part of Lego Ben's lawyers, who he has lawyers now. Remember, he'd been doing everything pro se up until this point. So we might get some new Reckless Ben videos any day. But like I said, this story has gained so much traction. It's now made the mainstream media news and the Wall Street Journal. Like, this is huge. And what I'm really thankful for is that more eyes are on the American Police Department, and maybe even looking. This judge who is doing Lego Ben's case, Reckless Ben's case, he is the same judge that will be presiding over the Charlie Kirk trial.
Oh, wow.
It's the same guy. So he's done some very dodgy, suspicious decisions in this one. It looks like he hadn't done anything weird in the other one, but anyway, there's another weird coincidence for you. So that's what I got. And this is Phobos Lego out.
I mean, have you guys seen the video where the cops were sick on Ben, and they were like harassing Ben and following him, and then pulled him over? And I mean, I can see basic, rights violations.
And there's
anyone were a lawyer. I couldn't believe what I was watching.
And there was
I was watching a third world country.
There were even hot mic
immunity.
There were even hot mic moments where they were talking about, like, how are we going to get how are we going to get him? How are we going to what do we need to do to make sure he doesn't come back at us, or like just weird stuff like that. It's crazy. And the funny thing is, I mean, it's interesting because I had never really done any looking into this, but I have family from Louisiana.
Yeah.
The cops and judges in Louisiana are as corrupt as they come.
Oh yeah.
I have discovered
they all keep cash in their freezers.
Yeah. I have discovered recently that apparently Utah's nearly as bad.
Yeah. And remember, qualified immunity. You can't sue these cops. It's very difficult to get a police officer on civil rights violations because of qualified immunity.
Yeah, they were all working for the same team. It sounded like.
A lot of them are associated with one particular church.
Yep.
And they look out for each other. They back each other up, and but there's other stuff there as well. There's lots of money. There's lots of familial connections and so on that are part of it, and just the same as it is in Louisiana. Like I said, having had family there, having heard some of the stories, know about how some of the stuff there works. It's wildly corrupt, right?
Yeah. Remember
No, go ahead.
Some of these parties are childhood friends. They've been buddies for 20, 25 years. I'm very hesitant to bring up the particular church, because I know so many people
don't
that are
just-
just
you don't
excellent,
have to say it.
outstanding members of that.
Yes.
But there's strong in-group preference here. They went to the same school. They were in the same fraternities. They've known each other since childhood. When you get the cops and the judges and the plaintiffs all in a very tight-knit group, I don't really think you need to bring their religion into it. They are already sort of peas in a pod.
Well, yeah, like in my town, I've known the police chief since I was a little kid, so it's like I always feel, not that I ever do anything, but it's like it's
Oh,
just the way
well,
the world works sometimes. It's
well, with all those motorcycles you have, it's good to know the
yeah,
king, right? You can
yeah. Well, like someone tried to break into my mom's car, and I texted the police chief before I called 911, and then, but. Now you should do that, but I can see where, you want to protect a friend, but I couldn't believe it. They swatted the guy. I'm like, they're violating his civil rights in an unbelievable way. And what they were doing, they were redacting the footage to protect themselves. And a couple of times, like you were saying,
Oh yeah.
Professor, they forgot to redact certain segments that would make them look
Oh,
bad.
and then they put the unredacted footage on
Yeah,
Dropbox and made the link public. So everybody,
yeah,
now the good news is you can't sue the cops, but you can sue the city of American Fork. They don't have qualified immunity.
yeah. They're going to get sued up
The
the
downside
wazoo.
to that is it's going to be the taxpayers that suffer.
Yep.
But if you hit them hard enough, maybe the city will do something about the police. But I don't know. 7 decades, I've never seen cops held accountable except in a very few rare times. And when it happens, it always seems like it's the wrong cop who was held accountable.
All that stuff is to me, because I live in England and I live in a borough called Wandsworth. All seems to me movie like. In the chief of police, whatever. It's just
Yeah.
stuff like that always exists in movies for me. Anyway, it's just weird to me that you do that actually happens. Anyway, carry on. I just thought I'd
I just
mention.
wanted to show you this. There's been kind of a development, I guess. People like George Takei and Will Wheaton have been complaining that Dwayne Johnson said that he doesn't want to talk about politics anymore and that he wants to keep his politics for himself and just
He's
focus on
learned.
entertaining people. And I
Yeah.
guess they're annoyed. So they said that he's a coward.
The wildly successful
Oh my
careers
God.
of George Takei and Will Wheaton, right?
Right.
Please,
Ugh.
just please. And this whole silence is complicity, silence is violence. All of this is absolute BS. For someone to simply say my opinions are my own is not in any way contributing to any kind of racism or whatever. Like it's complete nonsense. This is the idea that has driven half of Hollywood into thinking that their job is to be influencers instead of just being performers. And it's ruining Hollywood. It's destroying Hollywood.
I used to
You know,
love listening to George Takei, and then he became all about politics all the time. I mean, I met someone one of our friends. She told me her sister is moving to Seattle, Washington, because if she wants to be able to escape to Canada as quickly as possible. I'm like, she's taking her kids across the country from New York area all the way to Seattle, Washington, because she researches that's the easiest part of the border to cross, just in case. I'm like, what's she worried about? And imagine the TDS to
So
I,
absurd.
I,
these
I want
people
to say this
have.
here. Read by Nature says this is unintentionally a puff piece on The Rock. Most people are going to look at it and side with him. This is the best PR The Rock has gotten in years. You know what I mean? Like, I do remember, and he actually didn't say this now. He said this a few years ago. I think that after the elections, or maybe no, now I remember. There was the election with Trump and Biden. And I think that at the time, somebody, sat down for an interview with him and wanted to hear his thoughts or whatever it was. And he said, you know what? In 2020, I got involved. I started talking about all these opinions. I regret that now. I don't want to tell people what my opinions are. It's not my job. And I don't want to deal with that. Like, I have my own opinions. They are what they are. And let me just focus on entertaining people. And I thought to myself that out of all the things, and he's done a lot of things that maybe aren't good in recent years for his career, I actually thought that was fine. I mean, he said, I made a mistake. I don't want to do it anymore. I don't want to get involved in politics. And now I think they're referring to that because they think to themselves, when there was Trump and Biden election, or Trump and Kamala, Dwayne Johnson didn't weigh in, so he's a coward. That's what they're really trying to say here. But
Yep.
at the same time,
Yeah.
he didn't want to get involved in it. And honestly, I mean, I think that, like, maybe he realized also that Kamala wasn't the best thing that ever happened, or he didn't want to deal with it. This is the philosophy that I think all these actors should adopt. I don't care who they voted for, I really don't. But just leave other people alone. Let everybody do whatever they want.
Yeah, and it never works out for The Rock too. Remember when he tried to get involved in charity work and that backfired? Him and Oprah trying to, basically with the whole Hawaii thing. Like, he doesn't have a good track record getting involved in issues outside entertainment. He's finally learned it's, and this whole, silence is complicity. What if you don't feel qualified to have an opinion? What if you don't know? Like, I hate this.
I feel like something else happened, and I said it at the time, I think, when the thing came up, and this is what I said, and I still believe it. It is also possible that his accountant called him and said, listen, Dwayne, ever since that you went and you said some weird shit about some politics, we've noticed that the numbers aren't as strong as they were before. Maybe you opening your mouth and talking about weird shit is not good for your fan base. And I guess The Rock, they showed him a chart with some numbers, and he's like, man, I should keep my mouth shut. What the fuck am I doing? And that's it.
Sorry,
and
Sean.
Moving forward, he thanked his accountant, ended the call with him, and that's it. He said, I'm not doing this anymore. I don't want to get involved, because at the end of the day, you want to be an entertainer for everybody, and you want to make money. It's the same thing with Michael Jordan, where, I always think of this, that people said, oh, why aren't you getting involved in this? Why aren't you saying all this political stuff? Why aren't you saying the Republicans this, blah, blah, blah? So he said, Republicans buy sneakers too. And you know what? I don't mind. Even if that's a selfish and greedy comment, at least it's one that's smart. You don't want to alienate everybody. You're a guy that's sort of appealing to everybody. You don't want to alienate them. Sometimes if you have a bunch of weird opinions, it's best to keep them to yourself.
He's an entertainer too, right?
What'd you say?
Yeah. He's an entertainer. We want to just smell what The Rock is cooking. We don't want to smell what he's talking about politics, right?
And when I go see a film, I want to be able to watch any of these actors, Idris Elba or any of them. I want to be able to go see a film with that actor, and I want to be able to see that actor embody that role. I don't want to go to the film and look up and go, oh, there's the dumbass that thinks taking the points off knives is going to be the thing that saves people's lives, right?
Oh, yeah, ninja swords and scissors.
Ninja swords, and we're going to take the points off kitchen knives. That's going to save people's lives, right?
This is the guy who played Luther, the most brilliant detective in the world. Now when I watch it, all I can think of is, what a dumbass.
I think the reason why George Takei and what's his face is
Will Wheaton.
Will Whedon's like that is because they kind of feel that Dwayne Johnson, they may suspect that what he's saying is right. You shouldn't really get involved in politics. You should just step back because you're an entertainer, and that scares them. That's why George Takei's coming out and saying this shit, and Will Whedon's whatever he's saying. It scares them, because if you're part of a group and you think you're solid and you think that you're moving forward and everybody agrees with what you're saying, then one person goes, nah, fuck this, and walks away. You question the whole thing, don't you? And this is what's happening.
Well, and the real truth is, when it comes to someone like George Takei or Will Wheaton, all they have left is politics, and that they do not have careers in anywhere, right? They're literally making their money from ads on social media as being the weak influencers that they are there, and then what little attention they can still get at cons for people coming and asking for their signatures. That's it. That's all they have left.
I think there's something else going on here related to the Ash conformity experiment. Maybe there, when one person disagrees, it all of a sudden opens the door for everyone else. And maybe part of their media training and their insistence on 100% absolute compliance, because they're afraid as soon as somebody breaks off, they're going to lose their entire cadre of reasonable people.
That's what they're scared of. That's why they're speaking out.
One of us sounds like Joe Rogan. Oh, is that'd be pretty cool. Could I get whoever it is, I get a percentage of Joe Rogan's money too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the way it goes.
But but just the politics is just invaded so much too, and then people don't understand that Trump won the popular vote too. So there's a lot of people out there that are Trump supporters, whether you like him or not. So and the silence, it's like, what are they comparing this to? Something that happened during World War II, or this silence is, uh, you know, uh, you know, it's not like you see someone that's on the side of the street just got attacked. You're not doing something. You're not being a good Samaritan. I mean, this is politics, and they're entertainers. So like, I went to see Bruce Springsteen a couple weeks ago, and I got like 20 minutes of lectures from Bruce Springsteen, the billionaire, about the evils of capitalism and Trump. It's like, just sing your damn songs. I don't want to
Oh,
hear this.
really? He did that?
Oh,
Oh,
Bruce,
He does that
yeah,
all the time. Yeah.
he's
Yeah.
got
And
Yeah.
massive TDS.
yeah.
Yes.
And he's
Yeah.
on a teleprompter, and they were showing it. It was actually on a
Oh, dear.
teleprompter. So he opens the show with war. What is good for a big opening speech. And I've never been a fan of his music. So then the political
Yeah.
stuff didn't. I went to go with family, and they wanted
Oh,
to go, but I'm
no.
like, oh, you're making me
Yeah.
go see Bruce, but you just don't want to see. It just sours the whole experience because he's not a politician. He's supposed
Yeah.
to be a musician.
You know, another thing, he made a movie in recent years. There was a documentary about him, not the theatrical one that failed because people are just sick of him, but he did a documentary. And the thing that annoyed me about the documentary is you could tell that he is the one that pulled the strings on how that documentary gets made. It was positioned to sell him to you in a certain way, so much so that you kind of feel like you're watching an advertisement. You know what I mean? For example, Little Steven was the guy that was like running his band, like the E Street Band,
Yeah.
and for a
Stevie
number.
Van Zandt.
Right, and the thing is that they had some kind of something going on, and he stepped away. And then I guess after a number of years, Bruce Springsteen, asked him to come back. In this movie, they gloss over that so elegantly. Like they don't want to make it seem like anything bad happened. Any interaction that anybody has, anything that anybody has to say about Bruce Springsteen, he's the best, and everything's the best, and he never did anything wrong, and it's so great, and he's so wonderful. And I said to myself, man, this documentary is annoying. Like, at least be a little honest. A good documentary is you sit there and you can also see some sides like that are complicated to a person. It can't be that the guy is walking around 40, 50 years and everything he's ever done is great. Nobody has ever had any criticism and he's the best ever. And I also told you this once. I think I mentioned it to you, Professor, that I was at an event. It's a really long story, but he was supposed to show up at like a cocktail party, which was sort of in his honor. And he was in the building and he went home and never showed up. And there were people there. And I just thought to myself,
Wow.
I don't know. I just think to myself, like, I would go. I don't care how much money I have. All these people came here to celebrate me. The least I would do, I would come out and do whatever. I would say hi and all this other shit. Now, personally, as price reason I was there, it was surprising that I was even there to begin with. You know what I mean? It's one of those weird glitches that I was even in this event. So it's not like if he would have arrived at the cocktail party, I would have been some kind of point of interest there at at this spot. Probably wouldn't have said anything to me. I still thought it was douchey though. You know what I mean?
I have to admit, I've seen Springsteen in concerts several times. He's always put on a great show and has played for hours and hours. He's hardly the first musician to turn his, venue into a lecture either. I remember I went and saw Garbage in the 90s, and Shirley Manson was lecturing on the evils of the music industry for like 35 minutes. So that was pretty, like, nobody came here to see that stuff. So he's not alone. And I don't want to defend him because he does have bad TDS. But back in the day, he gave you your money's worth.
I've seen him perform once, and I've said it before that I had a friend of mine that had tickets and convinced me to go because I wasn't really excited to go. But I did see the show, and I was very impressed with the level of professionalism in the show. But this was before 2016 or whenever he started getting the TDS. I just saw him perform. I thought he put on a very good show. I respected him more after seeing the show than I did before. If he just stuck to that and did that, I'm sure it would be fine. But I really don't need to hear all that stuff. And also, maybe it's a little thing, but the thing that he ran away and from his own thing, and he wouldn't even, usually in a situation that I was in, if somebody did a little gathering for you, the least you could do is come in and just wave to people, be there a few minutes and just smile and be on your way. The fact that like I don't want to say beneath him, but like he took his like car service or whatever and like got out of
Yeah.
there, kind of like I don't know. It's my personal opinion. I don't
There was that
I'm not
old saying.
impressed.
That's
Isn't it?
bad form.
There's
Yes.
an old saying, isn't there? Come up here, thank you God, thank you Agent, and fuck off. Do you know what I mean? Don't say
Right.
anything. Don't say anything. Just get your warning. Go away.
Ricky Gervais
Ricky
is a
Gervais, yeah.
international treasure. Like,
Ricky Gervais. He was really brave to do that actually in those awards. So especially when he first
Yeah.
did it, people took it the wrong way, but a lot of people got the jokes. That's why they were laughing. And he's right. He's not there to satisfy the 200 rich millionaires, famous people around the world. He's there to satisfy the thousands of watching it around the world, isn't there? People that are just sitting on their sofas. That's what he's there for. And the thing is, though, English humor always had that. If you watch something like Morecambe and Wise, they always used to denigrate their guest stars all the time, and it became this huge joke. And all the guest stars wanted to be on their show because they denigrated them. So it was a thing, but I think Ricky Gervais kind of introduced it slightly to the Americans, and I think now the Americans get him now. I think so.
yeah, the important thing to realize is none of this is new. We were getting this back in the 60s and 70s. Remember when Brando sent, what was her name, Little Feather?
Yeah.
That was 19. And then it turns out years later, she's not even Native American.
She's not even a Native American.
But I will say you did have roasters like Don Rickles. It's not that you never had people that made fun of people before Ricky Gervais did it then. I think that the thing that was interesting about Ricky Gervais is that for a long
it's
time,
different. Price is different. The British humor, like I'll give you an example, right? There's this comedy couple called Morecambe and Wise. They're both gone now. They're huge. 20 million people used to watch them in the 70s during the day. And they had Elton John on their show, right? And what they did was, when they were doing their sketches and stuff, Elton John used to come on and they used to say, "Not now." And he used to walk off, right? And at the end, when all the credits had gone up and the show was over, he walked on and there was no one in the audience. And he just sat there and he sang something, and then it went to black, and that was it. Do you know what I mean? It's a different kind of humor to the Americans. When the British people denigrate a star, especially someone as big as Elton John, they do it 100%.
I agree. They have their own style.
100%.
I have their own. I'll say this. I'll agree with you, Mega Geek, that it's half of it is like his style, but I'll also say that like the timing of, especially when everything had become so politically correct in Hollywood, that Ricky Gervais shows up to burst their bubble. That was also like a timing. I think that Hollywood was more open-minded about a little more skewering back in the day, and when he delivered it, English humor or not, I think that when he delivered it, it was at the exact like moment in pop culture where there was this big bubble and he just burst it with one monologue that people remember until now. Almost like something of a turning point, a little bit of a turning point, if you want to call it that.
Yeah. I mean, we have had celebrity roasts, in the U.S. for a long time.
That's different. That's different, though. As I said, right, you've only got to look at British humor. Even The Office, the difference between the British Office and the U.S. Office, the British Office, they were complete assholes. And there was no redeeming factor about it. They were stupid, right? But in the American Office, there was some kind of redeeming factor with them all, wasn't there? That's the difference. That's a huge difference there. In England, we're losers. That's it. That's it in humor. They're losers, and there's no redeeming factor about them. Well, there is a little sometimes, but you know what I mean. It's a different kind of humor. But anyway, I digress.
Yeah, like All in the Family was a British show originally. There's so many great British Sanford and Son. There's just so many great shows that were, and people don't know that they're British shows.
Yeah, Randy Scouse-Git.
Yeah, I mean, Freeze company was Man About the House in England. Death to Us Part was the one with the ropers, whatever it is. What is it? What was that one called?
Three's Company spinoff.
No,
well, Three's Company was a British show too.
The Ropers spinoff. They tried to give the Ropers a spinoff, I guess.
Yeah. So it's
both sides of the Atlantic. Yeah.
I mean, we took on Friends. We had our own version of Friends. It was on BBC. I can't remember what it was called. But that was a success as well. So
it was probably called Chaps.
Yeah, House of
When's Benny Hill
Cards
coming back?
Yeah.
House of Cards and Ghosts were also British TV
Yeah.
shows, as well as
I'm-
Skins and Being
I'm-
Human.
Did they ever try and make a U.S. version of In the Thick of It? It wouldn't
Yes.
work.
No,
Yeah,
It
yeah,
just wouldn't
they-
work.
Was
Uh,
Newhart
they,
supposed to be Faulty Towers?
they tried,
God,
but it
no.
didn't work.
terrible. Yeah. it's
Oh
terrible.
yeah, Sanford and Son was originally one of my favorite
Yeah,
American
Steptoe
shows.
and
was
Son.
originally
British show,
British. Yeah.
Steptoe and Son, of course. And in England, it was two white people. In America,
Yeah,
it was black people, wasn't it? So it's interesting the difference between the American humor and the British humor. I love American humor though. You guys have created some really good stuff. Like in far as I was concerned, Police Academy. I liked the first two Police Academy movies. Really thought they were great. Aeroplane, you can't get any better than that when it comes to humor. Come on, you guys are good. You guys are good.
I like my
we have
I like
Dumb
my men like I like my coffee.
And we have Dumb and Dumber too, right?
Yeah, I
One
love
of the
those.
greatest movies ever.
Yeah. And what is it? There's something about Mary made me cry with laughter when I was in the cinema.
Oh,
It's funny when
yeah,
you're in the
no,
cinema and you've got the crowd behind you and they're
Oh.
all laughing at the same time. Such a great experience.
Oh, yeah. See, that movie just made me cry. There
zipper
wasn't any
scene.
laughing involved.
something
Zipper
about
scene.
Mary was very funny, but also bittersweet. Like
Oh,
No, I was just bored to tears. I didn't
Okay.
think it was. I didn't think it was
funny.
funny at all. I didn't laugh
Ah.
once.
I did. I thought it was funny. I love the ending as well, where they're all singing that song as well. I thought it was quite funny as well. But I don't know. American humor is good. British humor is good. It's just that the woke humor and those woke women that stand up and they're terrible. Doesn't anyone tell them that they're terrible? That their humor's awful. Yet people are laughing. You think, what are they laughing at? But anyway,
yeah.
that's,
America tried to do an IT crowd. They did a pilot. It was awful. It was.
And
and
Red
they-
Dwarf. Red Dwarf.
Yeah.
Oh, I love
They-
Red Dwarf. God.
They called it
Yeah.
White Dwarf in England because no
Yeah,
one
they-
was black.
They tried to do coupling, and that was failed. The In-Betweeners, that failed. Let's see, Peep Show too, and Chateau Snavely. Yeah. There's a lot of the best British TV shows just don't translate into United States.
Yeah.
Have you guys seen Americathon with John Ritter? John Ritter's one of my favorite
Yeah.
actors. But that's,
Yeah,
So
we
sad
love
about
that so
how
much.
soon he passed away, John Ritter. He was really
Oh,
quite
yeah.
brilliant.
Yeah, and they had
Yeah.
the heart. He had the heart defect that was misdiagnosed when they treated him, and the hospital had to pay a lot of money. But yeah, so they thought he was having a heart attack, and it wasn't. So but, he had that heart condition. I'm rewatching Three's Company right now. God, he's so funny in that show. And Christy, her character, Christy, is just so freaking funny. It's a shame
Did
that-
can I ask you a question? In Three's Company, did Ritter get together with one of the
No,
girls at the ending of the
no.
show?
no,
Because that's exactly what
Never.
happened in the British version as well. The British version, he was so in love with Chrissy in our version, and at the ending, in the last episode, she got married to somebody else, and he was just standing there looking at them get married. I thought it was really sad, really,
God.
really sad. But
Well, in the
yeah,
American
very
version,
grabby on the
the
show.
actress left the show, so he couldn't have done that even if they wanted.
Yeah.
Well, she was
Okay.
getting screwed over with that pay dispute on that. I mean, she was right. I mean, she was a
She
big
was right.
reason
Yeah,
that
she
show
was
was a six.
I mean, at the end of the day, you have a show. This was really, I have to say, very greedy on the side of the network. You have a show that's like doing so much money for you, and it's the kind of money that a lot of times these actors, however you pay them, it's nothing. In those days, the advertisement was big money. So
Massive.
when you're keeping so much of the money to just give the few 3 stars of your show a similar salary, it just seems like such an easy solution. And instead of just saying, okay, we'll just give you all like a good salary and let's move on, they decided that like as a matter of principle, they don't want to pay her. They want to pay John Ritter all the money, but they don't want to pay her. I think it was dumb. I think that once the show was doing well, they should have made it work and found a way to make everybody happy. At the end, they I don't think that they benefited from what they did. Maybe
they
the
didn't.
show It did
Well,
well
that's
with
what
Terry. It did well with Terry for a few more seasons, but Terry wasn't the same as Chrissy.
it's
No.
never as good. It's never as good, and that's why the actors later on would band together. Like on Friends, they all got together and said we're getting
Oh
paid
yeah.
equally, which was very smart. But
Yeah,
back then it was
Seinfeld
a
too.
different. Yeah, it was a different
Yeah.
world back then. But when I was reading about what Suzanne Summer was getting paid compared to John Ritter, I'm like, this is obscenely. It was like 10
Yeah,
to
that
1
was
or
wrong.
something. It wasn't even like
Yeah.
close. Like, what are you nuts?
Shows like that rarely survive a cast change too, because the chemistry is such a delicate balance amongst the
Right.
actors.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I was reading about Norman Fell. Was it Norman Fell, Mr. Roper? He didn't want to do the spinoff show because he's like, we're making so much money on Three's Company, and then they had a deal where in this contract, well, if the show fails after a couple of years, you can come back to Three's Company, but they reneged on it because then they had Mr. Furley, and they only had to pay one actor, Don
Right.
Knotts, instead of paying two, him and his
In,
wife.
in the UK version, right, the Ropers, who were the landlords, they had a spin-off show, and it was so
Yeah.
successful they made a movie, a Georgie
Oh
Mildred
wow.
movie, and it was a huge success as well. And then the girl who played Mildred, the woman who played Mildred, died of cancer. So that was the end of that. But that's just goes to show how popular it was. 20 million people were watching Man About the House. 20 million people were watching George and Mildred, and the film was a huge
Wow.
success. Do you know what I mean? It's crazy. Today, you'll never get a
Yeah.
amount of people watching TV like that. Never.
That's a
Right.
fourth of your country. That's
I
crazy.
know. I know. It's crazy, right? So huge, 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 huge show. No wonder why the Americans took it.
Yeah.
So it's madness, absolute madness. So you never get 20 million watching a show today.
Yeah, I don't
They're all
think Grant
watching
Linehan
YouTube.
can.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I don't think Grant Linehan can successfully transfer to United States humor.
Yeah, as I said, you both have different kinds of humor, and I think
Yeah.
I love the American humor. I loved Frasier. I was tuning into Frasier every week. I could not miss that show.
Oh
It
yeah.
was so funny, so poignant, and so, do you know what I mean? So just
That was a good
really,
show.
really moving in certain sequences and stuff. I mean, the dynamics between who's the cleaner, the girl that lived with them, Niles was in love with.
Yeah.
Wait,
Who was Niles in love with?
not
Well, the
Molly,
nurse, the girl that was the
Daphne.
caretaker.
Daphne. Yeah.
That
Hilarious. Yeah.
that storyline was amazing all the way through from season 1 straight across to when they got together. When they got together, it died after that, but it was
It
such a
always
great
does.
show. And even the last episode, I was so sad when they all went their separate ways, and Fraser was alone. He was on the plane flying to, I can't remember where he was flying to, Chicago or something, like to do a show in Chicago. And in the end, Fraser ended up with nothing really, and it was quite sad in my
Did
opinion.
anyone
They
watch
got a
the
reboot.
new version?
I
They
did. I
came,
watched a couple. That was enough for me.
yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't that. Frasier and News Radio are two of my favorite sitcoms of all time, man. Hard to top that. I don't really consider Seinfeld a sitcom. It's a different beast, but
I love Seinfeld. Well, I never got the humor until I saw this one episode where Kramer was outside a studio and there was his chat show host that the show was done and they were throwing all the stuff away, and he took all the stuff and he put it in his house. Do you remember that episode?
Yeah.
That was so funny. That's when I got the humor when I was watching. I was thinking, yeah, it's absolutely hilarious.
Well, speaking of hilarious, I just wanted to thank the people that are here on Rumble, and I hope you've also followed this channel if you haven't done so already. We have Angelo DD, God bless, 5697, Kivo 1961, Entropy Nomad, B-Roll Stage, Angelo DD, Elizabeth Quince, Dude Bro Seth 420, Darren Mai, let's see it scroll down, Born to Be Down, Phantomunk, Rock, who's a moderator here, and Darren Mai is also moderator here. Rocco D2, Double R Star, Cassus Rumble 29.
All right. And then let's see over on the YouTubes. If it will load for me. Hold on a second.
Tom X says Price is tired. Am I tired? Why?
All right, we had over on YouTube we had Mark S47, Spooky Mulder, Heat Sinker, I Lord Corey, I have Nerdick, Rebecca Gold, Charlie Brown is a winner, in a disguise, Jonathan Conroy, aggressively relaxing, Trev Toon Art, Doc Fortune, Dostes, 888, Lasher, Destiny Captain 247, Ron Donafero, Kalekioki, Marla Sharondoff, Scottish Celts, Adrian Veit, Darth Scipio, Georges Irex, Kara Runte, Angry Sparrow, C.W. Chang, Hoot Owl, RJ Godzilla, Khan Lives, Jawa Trader Utini, Lord Skywalker, Yitus, Douglas Nutt, Tim Hayes, Istophobos, and Jason Webster, Darren M, Six, Red Pilled Rants, Caleb Levine, Mark D with a C, Kodo Rob, Gavin Unit, Tomahawk 511, and The Dead Man. We did get some support over on YouTube this evening. So thank you, The Dead Man and Douglas Nutt for your super chats, and Angry Sparrow for becoming a member, and Nerd Wars for gifting 5 Price of Reason Live memberships. So thank you for all of that support this evening.
Mm-hmm. And so
cool. Yeah, I was just trying to share. Hold on. I was sharing a few things. So tell a joke or something.
Thank you for the links. Yep, thank you, everyone.
I'm sharing links for people. Yeah, you should check it out.
And Godzilla says everyone sounds tired. Well, it is 3 a.m. where I am. I don't know.
I just woke up.
You just
I just woke up.
That's why you sound the most crisp in the morning. Yeah.
Time to watch Wimbledon, right?
Yeah, Wimbledon's on. Well, in a couple of hours, put it that way.
A couple hours, yeah. You mean I could call you and you could tell me who wins it before everyone else knows? No.
Yeah, Ian, you get up early, man.
Smaller now, yeah.
Yeah, I get up. I try to get up at 6 every day.
They've. I didn't realize they had 3 separate attempts to make a U.S. faulty towers. Not 1, not 2, 3, and then now apparently John Cleese's daughter is trying to do a 4th. So
yeah, it's not going to work.
Oh,
sometimes I just can't recreate the magic. Yeah,
they tried to do 2 different U.S. Yeah, 2 different versions of Red Dwarf in the U.S., which it did not work out.
Sometimes something so British you can't do it. You know what I mean?
If you do not watch the attempt that they made for creating the IT crowd for the U.S.
Oh yeah,
it is horrid.
Horrible.
I mean, it is like just like punishing yourself to sit through it. It is so bad.
Yeah.
And it's got Joel McHale. It's got Joel McHale in it, who I think is funny. I've seen plenty of stuff that he's been in that I like. I like Joel McHale, but oh my goodness, it is just so badly directed. It's very, very rough.
It's got
it just doesn't work.
It's got the main star in it from England, doesn't it?
They did bring Richard Ayoade over. Yeah. But there's no chemistry between the two of them, like there was. Of the 2 characters that we had in the British version.
Him and Chris O'Dowd. Yeah, that was just magic.
Yep.
The the Close Encounters episode with the mashed potatoes in SeaWorld, just oh my god, it kills me every time.
It's very
died
funny.
in a fire at SeaWorld.
It's a great show. It really is.
Oh, it's brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
Shame they Me Too'd the guy that created it though, because he's brilliant as well.
He lives in the U.S. now.
Yeah, they socially
gave up on
jailed him too. Like they didn't just Me Too him; they everythinged him. That guy.
He won the court case.
Yeah, all because he said that men are men and women are women, and that there's biological reality. Yeah, That's
inconceivable.
tried to just tear his life apart, make sure he never got any more jobs. Yeah, all just brutal.
How could they not know that they're not the bad guys when they do things like that? I just don't understand the logic behind this. I
Are
really
we the
don't.
baddies?
When you're so convinced you're right, you don't even question yourself anymore. That's the problem.
Yeah.
They have virtue and righteousness on their side, and I'm sure there are many examples throughout history of the same thing happening. Who is it? Was it oh my god, it's one of my, was it Voltaire? Those that can make you believe absurdities can make you commit atrocities.
Yes.
And man, see, we don't even educate our kids here anymore. That's the problem. They don't know the stuff they need to know to not get taken in by this stuff.
Well, everyone can come here and be born here and be a citizen now, so that's all good.
Yep.
Yeah.
Birth tourism.
In this country, you get more benefits if you come and buy a boat than if you come in via the legal system. You even get a house if you come in via boat.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Free luxury hotel rooms.
That's right.
All right, Price, we got anything else, buddy?
No, I think we've covered everything. And yeah, this is a good time for us to be on our way.
All right.
On your way.
All right, guys. It was a pleasure hanging out. I want to thank our guest, Professor R2, the co-host. Obviously, always great. But great to also see our VIP guests, Mega Geek. Thank you for joining us from England in the morning. Mark D. with a C. And Lego expert, world's number one Lego scandal expert, was here with us. So, and I want to thank everybody that hung out with us at this late hour. And yeah, we'll see you here. Today was Tuesday, so we'll see you here on Thursday, because every Tuesday and Thursday, it's the night owl at 11:45 p.m. Eastern. And we'll see you later.
Ta-da.
Cheers.
Take care. Happy 4th, America.